Wishing I'd worry a little less, 'cause I got locked, or am I limitless? Prophecy, destiny, how do I handle the energy? 'Cause I'm still struggling and overwhelmed, but I gotta believe in myself.
Welcome to this week's broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble in Rocket League. We're broadcasting it from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. It's time for week 2 of our spring Rocket League Rumble. Tonight we'll take a look at the Octane bracket with 4 teams all gunning for that championship title. Last week the Barracudas took down the Eagles. Can they go back-to-back against 3 new teams? I'm your host, Artie Nerdy Bird Rain, and joining me is Greg Old Soul Smith. All right, so we have a sliver of all the Rocket League action that we normally get this evening. So we get to hard focus on these teams, but is there anything that you feel like, as far as what you've seen up till this point, because normally, you're not on desk, you're in there, but you still watch. What do you feel like these teams are missing when it comes to playing out in Rocket League?
Don't go too crazy. Just stick to the basics. Do what you do best. Make sure you got a good foundation before you start going crazy. All
right. Well, I can understand that you can't forget the basics. If later we'll be joined by Joe, and of course he will also say similar things to that. You can't forget your rotations. Make sure you have someone at the back post. And also, it's something that I only have recently learned is the idea that if you're going to be switching your car frequently, because sometimes those car swaps actually dictate what type of gameplay you're wanting to look for, don't do it every single round. I didn't think that was actually something that was super crucial, but apparently it is. So that's something I'm going to be looking at if we see some crazy swaps going forward throughout the course of our games this evening. Sorry, there's like an alarm going off? Okay, well, this week we'll be seeing the Octane bracket, and we have the Esports Tower teams all competing in this one. The way it works is it's a 3v3 soccer with, rocket-powered cars. It's best of 7, single elimination, golden goal, sudden death style gameplay if we manage to get to a overtime situation. Of course, those are exciting, but remember, those go on until that goal is scored, and they can last for an extremely long time, so buckle up if we end up in one of those situations. All right, are you prepared for overtime?
I'm ready for it. You can never really be ready for it, especially with Esports Tower. Sometimes they really like to push the golden goals. All
right, well, let's hope we see flashy overtimes if we do end up in that situation. But before we do, we could take a quick look at the bracket that we have for this evening's Dominus Cup games? Yes, and we're going to Octane Cup, my apologies. We're going to be seeing the Lions go against the Swerve and the Barracudas go against the Mammoths. All of these teams definitely very well matched. Swerve, when they first were introduced, felt like they were going to be the ones competing against the Barracudas. They have been keeping up that title. The Lions have been gradually improving since their first introduction, and the Mammoths have just gone above and beyond any expectations that I could have possibly set out for them since we first saw them. So it's going to be very exciting to see how everything shakes out this evening. And before we get started with our first matches of the evening, I have a quick reminder for everyone who is on Twitch, and that is to support your team, celebrate successes, be respectful to the other fans, and mods will remove anyone who violates these rules. So be nice and root for your team. All right, we have one more thing to cover.
Yep, as always, if you guys want to win, you got to follow the rules.
Well, kind of rules. They're more like advice.
Guidelines.
Okay, and then those guidelines are in the forms of Doc's Keys to the Game, brought to you by Rocket League. They are brought to you by Esports Tower. Create mistakes, punish the overcommit, play walls better, and demo in the goal. Doc's Keys to the Game are presented by Esports Tower, where you can score pro advice at esportstower.com and improve your game sense, improve your team play, and improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. All right, this is it. We're getting started. Our first game of the night is going to be the Swerve versus the Lions. Do you have any predictions?
Not really. I'm looking forward to a solid game. I haven't seen,
Good. Never, ever make predictions.
Yep.
You should know by now. You just get cast or cursed.
It's not a good call, but...
All right, so let's jump into this first game between the Swerves and the Lions. This first series of the night should be very exciting as both teams are making their debut, but have a ton of talent for the players on these rosters from the past Rumbles. All right, so it looks like for the Team Swerve, we've got Flux, Sketch, and that's Cran. Cran with a Quan with some special spelling. And then we've got Please, Cupcake, Nano, and oh my gosh, we have Quez back on the side of the Lions. So returns of some old faces. I'm very excited to see how everything shakes out. We do have the Lions walking away with the first goal, only taking 15 seconds. Playing around 2, playing around another. Oh, nope, they can't get it past Quan, but will Quez be able to follow it up? Unfortunate double commit, but Quez still maintains possession, going for their Classic aerial play with that. Flux predicted perfectly, volleying it to the back third of the Lions side of the field.
Yeah, Lions were definitely holding some good pacing there, but now they're starting to struggle over the ball. Maybe not as many comps as we'd like to see. That demolition, it's a good thing Nano was right there ready for it, but Flux intercepts that, kind of pits forward in the corner there. Quez is able to chip it back up, and it's playing right in the center field. Not quite ready for it was Please Cupcake, so it goes down in front of the goal. Man, the Lions are doing well, but they're just kind of tripping over each other a little bit.
Sometimes that goes away very quickly. First game, I will always say this when it comes to the Rocket League teams for Esports Tower, it tends to be like a pseudo warm-up / pseudo let's fake them out a little bit and not play how we want to fully be playing everything so we can scout how this other team is going to be performing against us. However, the Lions, knowing how stacked this roster is, they definitely need to make sure they're communicating quite a bit because all three of these players are pop-off solo players for sure, can be huge playmakers, but they got to remember there's two other people on that field, and Please Cupcake is going to tell me to shut right up because they just scored goal number 2 for the Lions.
Excellently played. Ooh, Quez wants his turn, winning the 50, sends it over, but Quayan ready to send it back. Ooh, Nano and Plee on top of each other, trying to dig it back out of that corner and send it over. They do get the upper hand, and we're in front for a little bit here. Quez looking for a lineup, looking to dribble it back down. Quinn jumping in the way. Flux still deep in the goal, ready for that defense, while Quez goes around with a rotation of Nano, trying to get it back on that other side, not letting it pass the 50, and we start to see that ping-pong play style, just keeping it out of the mouth of the goal, right over the half, trying to chip it and clear it for the other team.
Quez had a great clear above the goal, setting it to the side. However, Nano came right in to try and corral it in the corner. Quez rotating back to the back post, allowing Please Cupcake to push forward, but they're not putting pressure on Flux. Quez will roll forward, gets a touch on it. Secondary touch from Plee will allow it to cross the midfield stripe. Ooh. It will get redirected to the corner where Flux was waiting, but then a shot on goal from Please Cupcake also gets turned away by Flux. Nano goes for that challenge against Sketch. Unfortunately, they don't win out on that possession of the ball, so it is going to have to be corralled a bit in the corner. Looks like the volley came out, but it only made it about halfway across, and it's already returned to the corner on the side of the swerve.
It is a close game. Lots of steals. I'm surprised, honestly, we haven't seen so many demos with how close people are playing with each other, but... Ooh, trying to drop it down, line it up for the next player, Quan. Trying to keep it back on that side. Flux ready to back him up.
Quan now going to play off the ceiling, unfortunately. It does hit that ceiling immediately, and they lose out on their dribble. Nano going for the follow-up touch off his shot on goal. We do see a demo from Plee onto one of the swerve players, but it doesn't matter as Flux has made it across the midfield stripe. The volley is sent back over towards the swerve. Plee tries to dunk it down, but can't quite get the touch on it, and it will hit the backboard not once, but twice.
Yeah, those long-distance shots, you got to focus that aim or depend on a player to really tap it in, or that post just plays the fourth man so well.
It's real unfortunate. That's sometimes why you need to make sure you're communicating and having someone not fully in that goal box area, but ready to follow up for a secondary, sometimes tertiary touch. We have a shot on goal there from Cupcake. Another attempt from Quez. A third from Nano, but that means that back post needs to be filled quickly. But instead, all of the Lions are up here. Nano finally choosing to rotate back as Flux gets the volley. It hits the midfield where Nano elevates, popping it right back across. It's onto the back wall of the swerve side of the field. Sketch will set it back to the mid where Quez backpedals to try and stop it from crossing the midfield. Plee comes over them to help maintain possession, bringing it off the wall. And we do see a demo onto Quez, so they will respawn and back towards their own goal, and that's a reset for the Lions as Flux gets it in front of the Lions goal. It does get volleyed back across the mid.
Sometimes I'm seeing good lineups and good setups for the second person to come touch it in, but the positioning is not exactly where I'd like it to be right now. Ooh, a little air fight for it. The 50 goes in the blue favor, and Lions has got to defend it, but it doesn't happen. Flux setting it up for Sketch comes in over Quez. Quez able to protect the goal from that shot. Sketch, ooh, almost coming back up for another one. Instead gets the demo out. Another demo out. Quez and Nano looking to defend their goal. Plee does better. They're all lined up in there. Flux and Sketch looking to take a goal. Instead, it gets cleared back to Quan, who sends it back into the mouth of the goal.
Clock is ticking down right now. Lions are ahead by 2, so they're sitting in a great position so long as they maintain possession, even if one rolls in, but it looks like they're trying to go for a third. With that, the clock will run out, and the Lions will walk away with the first round victory. Okay, so I definitely am going to continue to sing the same song and dance that I said earlier, which is both these teams are still kind of warming up, filling each other out.
Sure.
Even though they probably do scrim against each other quite a bit. There were a lot of sort of newer faces, so to speak. Yes, we had returning
Sure.
members, but they're not on these rosters typically. And I don't think we've seen Quez since probably near the end of the fall Rumble. So having them return probably is shaking up how the Lions normally would operate. And I do know that the Lions are working a little bit more on working as a unit rather than working as one-on-one players.
Sure, you can be a good Rocket League player on your own, but you have to be a good team player to play with a good team.
Yes.
So hopefully they warm up to each other and we see a little bit more serious gameplay in later rounds, but that was not a bad start.
Not at all, but they do that 5 minutes, they get 1 minute break. Let's see if that 1 minute was enough for these guys to correct their mistakes. We saw quite a few double commits, and it seems like some breakdowns in comms happening very early on. Hopefully those get cleaned up going into game number 2, and we'll see slightly more even. However, a 2-goal lead and to nothing honestly shows that it was a very close game, but I want to see more. I want to see it, honestly, a 1-goal differential rather than a 2.
And high-scoring matches. Starting right off, looks like the Lions are digging it out of their own goal to try to get it cleared back over, but Boost is just not on their side.
And, oh my goodness, do you see the roster for the side of the Lions?
Yeah.
We have had a full roster. Oh, my apologies.
Swerve.
Yeah, for the Swerve, there's been a full roster swap. That is a little crazy.
Adrift, the 67th Kababy, and Quasi Cat.
Adrift, the new Quez. All right, I see where the egos are going here. Yes, Baby's 67th. I'm going to go with that. And then we have a crazy Quasi Cat Uwu, reminiscent of our own Taki Uwu that we've had here in the past, who will be on desk with us later. Very interesting name changes. I appreciate the name changes still being very close to your own, though, guys. Thank you. Oh no, slight miscommunication there between two of the Swerves players. However, Quasi Cat's still going to elevate, try to drop it down here on the side where Adrift is going to be waiting for it. They pop it up, they drop it down to Baby, but unfortunately it was miscalculated. Flux now has no one to beat. The goal is wide open and they find it right away.
Flux just walking away with that, bringing us to a 1-1 here. Better gameplay overall, but people are still stacking the ball a little bit. This 50-50 chips straight up and goes in favor of the Lions, but they don't have a lot of cover on it. Looks like Swerve is definitely contending for that ball. They take 50-50, send it back. Sketch to an almost open goal, chips it a bit too high. The backup's ready. Flux sends it straight in over the new Quez.
Still plenty of time left in this game for the Swerve to bring back that 1 goal. We're already seeing more than we saw in the last game. You wanted a high goal scoring game. You might get it here.
Ooh.
We've got Quan playing around all of the showing some fancy tire work there, managing to make a goal number 3 for the Lions.
It is.
Yeah.
Stealing,
That was fast.
Stealing the name straight from Swerve takes up a little security goal about halfway through the game here. Ooh, little mid-air dog fight between Lions players. Careful on that double commit.
Oh, Quan, are you gonna do it? I can't. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm saying words like this. Quan and Quasi Cat have to deal with a one-on-one between the two of them. Quan tries to dunk the ball down in front of the Swerve goal. Sketch has it. It hits the ceiling, though, so he might lose out on possession. They will. Quasi Cat now with possession. Pops it up into the corner on the back third of the Lions side of the field. Flux digs it out. Has to play it around Adrift. Adrift sees the opportunity. Manages to get it around Quan, but they will lose out possession in that moment. Quan taking advantage, looking to dunk it down here in front of the goal. They can't quite find the angle as Adrift Lemming came after them and just bumped them just enough to get rid of possession.
Ooh, Kababy with a good sail straight in, but Quan has lots of time to get ready for it. Adrift almost ready for the follow-up there, but not quite, so it goes back into Quan's possession, who slow rolls it towards the 50, while Quasi Cat has an easy time stealing and setting it up for Kababy, which goes just a little bit too wide. Man, those goalposts are unforgiving. Kababy not in a great place to take that, so it goes off to Quez, who tries to take it from Sketch and Quan, who are on each other's tails for that ball. I think we can spread out a little bit here, but Kababy ready to angle it back down, set it up for a drift, starts guiding it right in. Not quite there. Oh, sends it backwards into Kababy, but he's able to clutch it up. Well done, Quasi.
All right, Swerve are only down by 1. We now have 2 minutes, 5 seconds left on the clock. The 50-50 goes in favor of Flux, but Adrift will grab it off the wall. Looking to get it off the back post here, but can't get there in time, so Quan's going to pop it up, play it around Adrift Lemming. Send it to Flux. It's going to go into the corner on the Swerve side of the field. Follow-up touch from Sketch hits the back wall yet again. Flux looking to center it up one more time. We have Quan go for another centering opportunity, but is the tertiary touch there? It's not. However, Quasi Cat will get taken out in the process.
Those were some much better rotations. Shots were a bit high, but you could see the three-man rotating from back post out to backfield and getting ready for the kick. So a bit crowded in the goal there, but they are guarding it well. We've seen several shots on goal here by Gababy and Drift just taking turns. A steal right out of the hands of Flux, keeping it on that side, but looks like an attempted clear that Quasi Cat's trying to get rid of. Oh, and Flux so close.
Oh.
Goodness, Gababy just trying to get it into that goal with an extra 2 shots. It doesn't happen, and Flux is looking to keep it out of there, but it's not quite going to happen. Ooh, Quez with another good lineup, but these shots on goals are just a little bit too wide or too high every time.
The lines were quite bunched up there. I'm shocked that Sketch managed to make it out in time to be there for the volley. Flux shot on goal won't even be registered. Quan trying to get it off the wall, centers it up, but Quasi Cat's waiting there. Pops it up, can't play it around Sketch, who dunks it down past them in front of the goal, no one to beat, and it rolls right in. Lions now bring themselves up to 4. Swerve currently down by 2, 44 seconds left on the clock.
Sketch just the graceful little bounce, just a touch right back into the goal. Flex looking to take it straight into the heart. Drift doesn't want to let that happen, so he sends it right over the goal. Good thing they were waiting for it. Quan looking to chip it even further out there, but it's not quite going to happen. Gababy is owning this ball. Flux takes it right out of his hands, and Quest is ready. Barely keeps it out of his own goal. A little bit scary there. Passing it back to Quasi to try to chip it out of the way from Sketch and Quan, because the goal is fairly open here. Luckily, they didn't get too many shots on, so it goes back to fighting over it near the center.
Quan now has just a Drift lemming to beat in front of them. However, they collide. Ball gets chipped up right on the back third of the Swerve side of the field. Quasi Cat goes for the clear, finds it. Flux, though, dunks it down in the corner. Gababy's there, pops it up, has Quasi Cat get a minor touch on it. Quan dragging it down to the ground. We are now at 0 seconds left on the clock. Swerve looking for one more goal. Lions just hoping to prevent that one and maintain their complete 2-goal lead here. Ball hits the ground. Lions walk away with the Game 2 win.
Wow, that was a much more exciting match, a much more high-scoring match. I think players were warmed up better. I think there was better boost pathing. What do you think? I
think so, too. It's just I'm going to maintain the same kind of nitpick that we heard from our own Tacky last week, which is I want to see more midfield control rather than just lots of volleys going back and forth. Granted, yes, that works. It works in almost every level of league play that I've been able to cast and watch. But that midfield control is really important as opposed to just going for the Hail Mary pop-ups and tosses across the field.
Especially considering that at this high of a level play, the zone of control that each car has is large enough that they don't need to be that close to each other. And one person can own the middle of the field and provide a lot of support from that distance.
And there was quite a lot of bunching up between all of the teams. We saw open goal opportunities. I think 2 were capitalized on, so make sure those rotations are solid. I mean, you can't forget your basic mechanics no matter what level of play you're at. So right now we're looking at the Lions currently up by 2. This is a best-of-5 series, so they're almost at match point here. Let's see if the Swerve are going to be able to bring this one back in the next match. Ooh, Sketch elevates. They hit a drift. Ball gets popped high. Quan steals it in the corner. Gababy, though, gets in there. Manages to corral it in the corner, has Flux, plays it around Flux, but they lose out on their dribble in the process of Drift, and it looks like Quasi Cat a little too close to one another. Drift goes for the clear, it hits Flux yet again, but Gababy's in that cherry-picking position. Quasi Cat comes in to help them out a little bit.
Ooh. Quez with the reverse bumps it right back out, and that slow demo just barely supersonic there takes out. Cleaning up the field a little bit, but Quan is back in the action here, ready to protect the goal from Quasi, who's at a good distance, just getting the lineup. Quan steals it right out from underneath him and sends it straight towards an almost open goal, but Gababy is on the spot and ready to point, sending it back over. Flux trying to steal it, but it doesn't quite happen, so deep in the orange field. Gababy sends it straight in. Well done.
Beautiful. Took almost 1 minute for the Swerve to find goal number 1. Remember, if you're just popping in here and joining us, Lions are currently looking to put themselves at match point where the Swerve are just trying to find their footing and walk away with a first round victory here. It is a best-of-5. Lions currently up by 2 games. Let's see how the next 3 minutes, 50 seconds shake out. Flux has possession, sends it to the goal. Gababy's going to elevate, and we're going to have a slight overlay mess up for a little bit, but it does look like a baby is going to get the save, send it to the corner where Adrift Lemming will grab it off of the wall. Oh, but Quan gets in there and chips it right back over to the other corner, but Crazy Cat's still there. So the Swerve maintaining a lot of spacing here in front of their own goal, but they're not pushing forward and controlling laterally on the field in order to find a nice clear for themselves.
Unfortunate.
I mean, if technology is being used, there's always room for error.
There is.
If you ever get bored, go and pick up one of Doc's books about teaching and the use of technology, and you'll just, all of this stuff is in there. It happens. So what I'm noticing a lot is the way I look at that field is it's kind of divided into 6 equal pieces.
Yep.
And for the team of the Swerve right now, they're controlling 3 pieces that are all literally lined up on the back third of their field. I mean, yes, they're controlling 1/3 apiece each, but it's not enough spread to allow for a clear to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that we see like them start to spread out a little bit more laterally and not.
You did bring up the word lateral earlier.
I just don't like it when everyone's in a line horizontal.
I hear that.
It doesn't work.
Yep. It's too easy for the Swerve to swerve around.
And one of the things that we talked about with Joe here on desk is the idea of, rotating the back post, but in that, it's more of a triangle path rotation.
It is.
And so you can have 2 people horizontal with one another, but then there's always someone that is slightly more up from them that is available for the clear, and kind of more in a cherry-picking position when it comes to those triangle rotations. Let's see if we start to see that come out here. Unfortunately, we do slightly see it, but Sketch is going to mess all of that up and come right in, try to get a shot on goal. Cool. I'm not going to lie. I do not know how Adrift managed to backtrack fast enough to get in there and prevent that goal from going in. So nicely done, Adrift.
The absolute toemater, ready to defend backwards.
Quan now looking to pop it up, but sends it to Gababy on accident. Sketch trying to center it up for a teammate, plays it off the wall, finds Quan, but Adrift will challenge them. Gababy in the back corner, has to play it around 1, can't do that, can't play it around Flux, but Crazy Cat gets in to help them out. Quan, though, still maintaining a level of possession here, plays it around another one, plays it around Gababy, but Adrift will dunk it down past them.
Good timing by Flux back there. I think earlier on in the game we would have seen him just charge for it and try to take the open instead of setting it up. There's a disrupt right in the middle there. A good demo. Quan looking to capitalize off that. Flux sending it right in. Look at that communication.
That was absolutely spicy. All right, so 2 minutes, 23 seconds left on the clock. Both teams tied 1 aside. Everyone's gunning for the opportunity to put themselves in a leading position, both looking for 2 goals, 1 to put them ahead and then 1 to put them in a security position. There's still plenty of time to do that. However, Swerve still being forced to bunch up quite a bit right now by the Lions. They need to start spreading out and maintaining field space. As we can see right there, all of them were in the same area, not something you want to see. That can be taken advantage of quite quickly. We do see Flux take the ball away from Crazy Cat. They've played around Gababy. They have Quan. Gababy can't play it around Quan, but it is going to hit off the top of the ceiling where Adrift will be waiting right on the ground.
An extra demo in the side there, making it a little bit easier to send it over to the other side. Ooh. Quez just trying to keep it out of his own goal there. Chips it way over. A little bit scary.
What did you do?
Baby looking to line it up and steals it.
That is a absolute open goal opportunity there provided by the Lions to the Swerve, served up on a silver platter. It's just something that comes down to communications and ensuring your rotations are on point. Right now, the Swerve are in the lead by 1. We have 90 seconds left on this clock. Let's see if they can maintain this lead, find another goal for themselves, or the Lions will turn this one around. We do have Gababy trying to prevent that from happening, centering up to Adrift. And it does look like Crazy Cat's going to come in to help out, but unfortunately the ball loses momentum and just slides right past the goal.
Crazy Cat digging it out of their own side. Sketch looking to try to keep it off their shoulders here. Flux sending it back over. They're trying to line up for a goal here. Rotations are good, though, so they dig it right out of the mouth of the goal. Crazy Cat doesn't like that. Trying to line it up for Gababy. Gababy going nice and slow. Trying to keep it over Sketch here, but it doesn't quite happen. There is a good bump to disrupt, but there's a 3-car pileup right there in the corner from Swerve, so it goes back over to their side when Quan's able to chip it out. Sketch looking to line up here, but Crazy Cat steals it out from in front of him with a good save. Another good steal, and they're doing a lot better having their defensive third man send back to be the goalie as soon as it chips up out of the mouth of the goal. So all being piled up in the deep of the goal there makes it not only difficult to drive, but difficult to respond to a game change like that. So they're doing a lot better here.
Crazy Cat with possession has Adrift coming in for the challenge. Never mind. My apologies. That was Quan who got challenged by Crazy Cat. Baby goes to dunk it down to a drift at the midfield. They are pushing forward. It's all three members of the Swerve doing so, though. They need to be careful. Hopefully they've communicated that someone needs to start rotating to the back third and just maintaining space. And it was Crazy Cat who chose to do that. Now they're pushing forward. Their rotations have come out, but they're really, really committing on this goal from the Swerve. Let's hope that doesn't come back to bite them. As we see a demo come out, Swerve will walk away with game number 3 win, preventing the match point for the Lions. So this game is guaranteed to go to a game 5, I believe. Most likely, yes. Is my math right?
2 from one from the other. Yeah, we're guaranteed a game 5.
Yeah.
Unless one team wins this game 4 and the Lions walk away with a 3-1.
All right. Yes, you're right. So
Yeah.
we're going to go into a game 4. Right now, Lions still at match point. Let's see if the Swerve can put themselves at match point or if the Lions are going to win. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Any predictions? Anything you like to see? Any trajectories that teams are taking?
I am not going to make any predictions because I don't want anybody to be mad.
Sure.
However, I really want everyone on both sides to stop bunching up. I mean, it is to us, when we see that, it means the comms are not where they need to be.
True.
Someone's not designating, hey, I'm rotating back or I'm pushing forward and overcommitting on those goal-scoring opportunities. Yes, sometimes you need to do it. We've seen both the Barracudas and the Eagles do that. It works out about 50% of the time. But the other 50% of the time where it doesn't, that's how you end up giving away a free goal. And sometimes that can be the deciding factor of if you win or lose.
50%. Sweaty mics. Don't leave it to a coin flip.
There you go. Sweaty comms. Show me the sweaty comms.
Ooh, Quan and the new Quez looking to fight for it in midair. Doesn't get a lot of ground either way, though, so Quez kind of hands it over to Flux here. Fights more in the middle. Little 50-50s, not a whole lot of rotation. Crazy Cat going nice and slow looking to line it up, but doesn't get a lot of ground off that either, so gets chipped back over to Swerve's side where Quan is fighting solo for it. Ooh, Baby walks away with a little demo there. Flux chipping it up. Baby in a good spot, or Quez, sorry.
Quan and Adrift will go 50-50. Adrift will get the better touch on it. It's going to say volley to the back third on the Swerve side of the field. We do have Flux trying to come in and challenge Baby. Quan off the ground, gets bumped around by Crazy Cat. We've got Sketch Rem into them to allow Quan to get a touch, but Sketch elevates. Adrift will elevate first, though, get the better of the touch between those two. It's on the back third of the Lions side of the field. Baby tries to play it around one, but cannot play it around another, so it forces Crazy Cat to help them out. Drift Lemming dunking the ball down at the midfield stripe. Crazy Cat can elevate. They will pop it up and over, trying to send it to Adrift, but they cannot find it as they're getting a lot of pressure put on them from the Lions. Quan elevating, sending the ball to the back third at the Swerve side of the field. Great pop up by Sketch. It's going to be sent to Quan. They do have Crazy Cat coming after them, though. Crazy will dunk it over them. Adrift Lemming rotating back to the midfield stripe. Baby will have ball stolen from them in mid-flight. Adrift trying to maintain possession in midfield here. Will lose out. Flux loses possession of the ball. Quan sends it to the corner, but Crazy Cat's right there. Can Quan get possession back? They will not, but Sketch is going to come help them. Baby pulls forward from the goal. However, Swerve are maintaining great field presence right now and having their rotations coming in strong. No goal scored just yet, and we're just under the 3-minute mark.
There's something to be said about momentum, too. Your positioning is important, but when the ball falls right behind you, the answer isn't always to back up for it. There should be someone behind you that's coming to clear your spot while you're moving out. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Wow, a beautiful bump to disrupt. Just taking that demo and clearing the goal out, lining the player behind him up for a good goal. Well played. 50-50 goes in the hands of Swerve. Oh, and they are bumped in midair as well, trying to steal it. Baby trying to get a lineup for it, but it doesn't happen. So Quan tries to take it, though. He fights a little bit for it, and Sketch with momentum is able to walk it right out of there. Baby comes sailing in, trying to cover that. Crazy Cat's already in position to do so, though. It gets kind of chipped up over Sketch there as Flux tries to line it up for a player to take the goal, but a disruption via demo does not allow for that, so it goes right back into the Lions' hands. These demos have been pivotal already, almost 3 this round. Sketch sending it back over. Adrift doesn't want that to happen, but he's able to chip it up so it doesn't go to the right player. Looking for a lineup. Baby is able to skew it out of the way. Not a lot of shots on goal here, but they are playing such a mind game, keeping it out of the hands of the other players.
Swerve have been maintaining quite a bit of ball possession great field presence so far. The rotations might break down a little bit as they've lost one player to a demo, but net is wide open off the back wall. Will there be a follow-up? There is, but Sketch will be knocked away in mid-flight. No one with clear possession just yet. Quan looking to grab it. A drift will ram into them to force the ball too far forward, trying to get it dug out of this corner. Unfortunately for the Lions, Adrift will maintain possession. Can't play it around Quan, though. He's going to send it to the wall. Baby tries to get a touch on it. Quasi Cat getting thrown around by Quan. Flux goes for the shot on goal and just slams it right into the back of the net.
Ooh. Yeah, we're seeing a lot better field control and ball control. Much more defensive gameplay here. Adrift sending it right over everyone in the field. Sketch looking to back up and protect it, but Baby is ready to steal into that. People are just all deep in the goal here, and Crazy Cat was the only one able to stay outside. Ooh, Baby trying to get it again, but two people in the goal prevents him from letting it happen. Flux just trying to chip out. Sketch can't hold it either, and Quez sends it in for another point. 56 seconds left on the clock. We're looking at 2-1. Can Lions take another point, send us into overtime, and finish the game, or are we going to a game 5?
Swerve definitely hungry to put themselves at match point like the Lions already are. Low-key, I want to see that happen. My voice box, not so much. Flux going for the backup. Will get taken out in the process, but does a great job sending the ball to the back. Third of the Swerve side of the field. Sketch trying to play it down to a teammate. Quan plays it off the wall for a center up, but no one's there immediately for the follow-up as Flux has already rotated back. Flux goes for a shot on goal. Quasi will elevate, dunk it down to Baby. Adrift now looking to send it into the goal. Quan, though, snags it off the ground, has an opportunity to play it around Quasi. They do just that. Now they're looking to center it up to a teammate. They have Sketch just in front of them, but the give and the go was not on time. Too many touches, and the ball gets stolen by the Swerve.
Lions looking to fight that back out. Quez trying to prevent it from getting in. Quan is able to save it. Quasi sending it back over, and that's game.
All right, now we are definitely going to see a game 5.
Indeed, we are. Definitely. Mathematically speaking, it's going to happen.
Both teams are at match point. I love seeing this. This is our first game of the night. Sorry if your voice gets a little bit strained. However, both these teams I feel like have been ramping up consistently every single round. And that last game was almost perfect for the Swerve. Couple of misplays.
Yeah.
A couple overcommits. Weren't punished, though.
It's definitely a lot cleaner. And I like the punishing is happening from both teams. Both teams are definitely stepping up and playing against the other team and not just playing against each other for the ball.
Yeah, so let's hope that rings true and continues to happen for this next game. I hope we don't see any easy goal scores because we did see one.
We did.
I don't want to see another one.
I like the flash goals, the sudden equalizers.
I mean, I get it, but when it's on an open goal, it's not as flashy.
Yeah, that's true.
It could be flashier. All right, we'll see how this next game shakes out. Both teams are at match point now. Probably going to end up in an overtime if these teams are playing to their absolute best ability. We got Quasi Cat here looking to play it around Sketch. They will be able to do that, but they dunk it down over Sketch to Quan. Sketch now having to play it around Adrift. Sends it to the back third, plays it off that corner, and it will be sent to Baby, who's going to drag it all the way to the other side of the field. Looks for a centering opportunity off the back wall. There's a follow-up touch from Flux, but unfortunately, it does look like Quasi Cat's going to disrupt that.
Quasi Cat trying to last little, try to get something out of there. Unfortunately, his team member is quickly demoed, so it goes back over to their side with a quick respawn. They're looking to keep it in the Swerve den over here. Quan looking to try to, it gets so close, but defense is too good. One in the back of the goal is a little bit too deep and comes out right at the last second to save it. Quasi Cat right on top of his own team member trying to dig it out, but it's not quite there, and Quan is ready to keep it in. Just look at that triangle. This is so nice. A little bit of a block up there, so Sketch doesn't have a lot to take it, so it goes up. But that, look at that demo. Quez able to chip it out despite the demo and start sending it in, but defense is too good. Sketch sends it back, and there's already one in the lineup. Sketch with the second tap, looking to get it over the half, but Quan also ready to back him up, looking to fight. Quez is not quite there. Quez is able to dig it back out. Baby following up. Quez not quite there.
Open. It was completely open again.
I think they committed to going to the other half too quickly, and the defense from Lions was good.
I'll be honest, I saw it already for both sides when the ball was in the back third on each side of the field. Teams were just so bunched up. It's like when when one team is not on their home half of the field, they are very oppressive. But on their own side, they become way too scared to the probability of the goal being left open, as opposed to communicating with one another to ensure it's not being left open.
And the problem is you can't accelerate as fast as someone is shooting the goal in. So just having one or two people stand in front of the goal, though it feels safer, ooh.
Go baby.
Just walks it right in. I wasn't ready for that. With two people on the goal, just sends it right into the top corner. Just a precision shot, putting the Swerve 2 points ahead here. Looking to take it out fast, but there's still 3 minutes left. Sketch with a quick demo on, looking to clear that goal. Flux looking to capitalize on that, but Quasi doesn't want it to happen. Drift comes flying back into the game, sending it to the Lions' side. A great lineup, but Sketch is ready for it. A little bit too low for him, so he takes it out. Adrift looking to take it. Baby ruthless with another demo, looking to clean that goal out. Quan can hold for his own, though, sending it up over to Flux. A little bit of a chip there, but Quan backs him up. Flux ready to keep it on that side against Adrift, who's looking to line it right up, but, oh, man. And it was a good save, but two people on the goal. If there was a follow-up on that, that would have gone in.
It actually seems like for the Lions, the double commits in the goal aren't quite intentional. It's more like they're ready for whomever saves it, pushing forward with it. It's like the rotation time is just not quite syncopated and in rhythm.
A little bit off. Yeah.
Yeah, like someone's getting there too fast or someone's idling too long in the goal position. Hasn't bitten them thus far, but having two people in the same spot is never a good idea. Plus, odds are you'll go for a double commit save, and then the goal is just left wide open anyway. So let's hope that gets cleaned up.
And it hasn't bitten them in the terms of losing a goal there. We only see these two Swerve goals, which were for different reasons. But if they could use that one person to get it out and then the other person to gain control, they might have some other goals from it, just from a defensive chip over. We see another shot on goal from quite a distance. Gababy takes the point for that one, though. It looked like an own goal.
We're going to give credit to Gababy. Thankfully, we don't have replays, so we can't identify if it was or wasn't.
We'll
and if it was, it happens. It's okay.
Flux and Quan looking to walk it back. A great dribble here, sending it right over a player, looking to walk it in, but Adrift is ready for it. Sends it up to Gababy, who walks it up the wall. Sketch taking it from him. Lets it bounce right past the defense, and Flux was almost there to line it up. Quan coming in to swoop for a goal, but it's not quite there. Defense is pretty solid from Swerve. They don't want any equalization coming out here. 3 is the safety they're looking to keep. Gababy wants to keep it on that side. Quan and Sketch chip it right out of his hands and send it over. A good demo over there, leaning this all-blue defense to fight Quan. He just doesn't have a great chance as they bump him back twice in a row. Flux looking to line up on this goal, but there's no one to follow up with it. The boost pathing was a little bit too deep out, and it goes straight to the Lions' goal.
The angle was almost too flat, so the opportunity for Gababy to find goal number 4 for themselves, which is not there. Which, by the way, congratulations, Gababy, you have a hat trick. Let's see if you're going to let one through for the Lions, though. Adrift Lemming bring the ball all the way up the side as it glides around that glass wall. Flux will pop it up in the corner, but right now Lions looking awfully close to one another in their own den. Quasi Cat looking to put pressure on Quan. All 3 members of the Swerve kind of ganging up as well. Flux shot on goal goes a little bit wide. Quasi Cat looking to corral it here off the wall, but Flux beats them to it. There's no one in the goal right now. Honestly, Swerve need to be a little bit more careful. Yes, they're up by 2, but that can up by 3, but that can easily be taken away very fast. Gababy looking to dunk it down to Quasi Cat, but ends up going to Quan instead, who has to just play it around Adrift. However, they cannot find that secondary touch follow-up. Ball's in front of the goal. Will Quan find the opportunity? They will get taken out instead. Sketch goes for another touch, but the ball hits the ground. And with the reverse sweep, the Swerve walk away with the win. Wow.
Excellently done. I was not ready for that. That was scary right at the end. There were 3 shots on goal that were pretty wide. The goal was not being kept very well by Swerves, but they walk away with it right at the end by the skin of their teeth. Well done.
I'm going to be honest with everyone who's listening and you're a Rocket League Esports Tower player. I drink a lot of caffeine. My heart palpitations are a result of this, though. Y'all give me anxiety. Anyway, I brought it up earlier, and it seemed like at the very beginning, the Swerve were struggling to play like a team, right?
Sure, yep.
Well, going at it alone obviously only got them so far. When they started playing like a team, their chances of success immediately led to a reverse sweep, and part of doing so comes with being an Esports Tower player. So if you want to level up your teaming skills, just like we saw all of the Swerve managed to do during those last sets of games, you should definitely check out Esports Tower, where they take real time to create teams of well-matched players. And I'd like to give a shout out to Coach Jake. And for those of you who are watching and haven't checked out the Esports Tower Club, you definitely should. It's a fast track to help you rank up. All right, we're going to take a quick look at the brackets because we want to remind everyone about what's at stake here and who we're going to be seeing next.
Octane Cup. We just saw the Swerve take out the Lions, moving them to the Grand Finals. Next up, the Barracudas fight for the Mammoths.
Very interested to see how that shakes out, considering the Swerve have Quez on their team, and they also have Drift, or it could have been a Drift changing their name to Quez. I have no idea if that's the case. If it is or isn't, someone let me know, because Quez used to play for the Barracudas, so if the Barracudas end up in the Grand Finals, it's kind of going to be a sibling rivalry happening when it's like, that's my twin I'm playing against. Not just my brother or sister, it's my twin. Well, before we go into our next semifinals match, we're going to take a quick break, so be sure to not go anywhere, and we'll be back here in just a few minutes.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your Guard adventure.
This week's broadcast of the Esports Tower Rumble. We're broadcasting it from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. Who will join the Swerve in the Octane Grand Finals? The Barracudas last week's championship took on the Mammoths with a spot and now are looking for a spot in the Grand Finals. I'm your host, Artie Nerdy Bird Rain, and joining me is Joe Taki Chigbrow. Are you enjoying the camera angle?
Yeah, it's a new one. I haven't gotten used to that one yet.
You'll get used to it. I mean, I need to just stare at it menacingly if you have to. I mean, it's hard sometimes. I get it. You can just be like, hi. Just don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
So you got to watch that first game. And I said it. Do you agree with me there wasn't as much midfield control as we were hoping to see this week?
I think there was definitely an attempt at midfield control, but I agree it wasn't really there. But I think the biggest portion from what I saw was due to kind of just rotating on autopilot. We weren't really thinking about the play, and we weren't really thinking about, hey, where the ball might end up. Instead, we're just kind of going to the general area where we thought we might be. And so the ball gets put in awkward positions, and we're not ready for it, or it goes over our head, and we weren't even ready for the boom that we saw they were going to take, right?
Yeah, so one of the big things that I feel like applies to almost every single esport that we get to broadcast here is you need to anticipate and not be the ones reacting to a play. You need to be the ones forcing the other team to react, and it felt like most of the time both of the teams were actually being forced to react to plays that were coming out. So hopefully that changes in this next game. We'll have to wait and see. However, all of these players work super duper hard, and there's a few who are graduating Esports Tower and graduating high school and moving on to the next chapter of their life, and that is going on to college. And so we want to give a quick shout out to all of those students from the Esports Tower. And we want to give a quick moment to congratulate all of the club members who graduated from the clubs and have been offered scholarships across the country. Over the last 3 months, Esports Tower club members have received $1.6 million in scholarship awards. These students not only work hard in their in-game play, but work hard academically and have earned these scholarship opportunities. These players receive these scholarships, and they are talented, hardworking, and driven. We could not be more proud and excited to see all the opportunities these players are getting. Feels like every couple of days, couple of weeks, that number just keeps going up and up and up. Only wish that was something that existed when we were a little bit younger, but instead we got to be the ones to pave that roadway for them, and seeing it actually come to fruition for all these kids is super awesome. So congratulations to all of you Esports Tower club members, and if you're hoping to be in a similar situation, just keep working hard. And don't forget your grades, please. Don't forget your grades. They're very important. All right, so we are about to run into our last semifinal of the evening. It's going to be the Barracudas taking on the Mammoths, but we have some key words of advice before we jump into that game for the players who are watching while they're trying to play. I highly suggest you get the tab after this. And those keys of advice are Doc's keys to the game in Rocket League. They're create mistakes, punish the overcommits, play the walls better, and demo in the goal. Doc's keys to the game presented by Esports Tower. Score pro advice at Esports Tower, where you can improve esportstower.com, where you can improve your game sense and improve your team play and improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. All right, let's jump right into this game of the Barracudas and the Mammoths facing off in the grand finals for the Octane Cup. The opportunity to face off is on the line. The Barracudas were in the championship rumble last week in the Octane Cup. Can the Mammoths knock them off? We'll have to wait and see. This is a best of 5, and I'm really hoping we don't have to go through a warm-up period like we always have to, but it probably is going to be a kind of feel things out and scout out the other team's strategies as we start out this first game.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to see how they come out swinging in the first game because, as you mentioned, we might be at a warm-up stage, but it's definitely still possible for them to come out swinging and keep pressure on the entire series, and that would be a really impressive start for them.
Very interesting Mammoths roster we have here. Unless these are complete name changes, they could be. We have Darasu, GDL, and Racer, all new faces here for the Mammoths. The Barracudas coming in with a Drifka Baby at Crazy Cat Uwu in, I'm going to say that's in honor of our own Taki Uwu that we've had as your name in the past, but we'll have to see as Gababy comes in for goal number 1 for the Barracudas.
Definitely a good start. Had a lot of pressure there, spent a lot of time in the blue half of the field, so the Barracudas definitely showing why they won last time at Esports Tower, but definitely they should be looking out for these Mammoths because, I mean, as I've heard, this is a pretty talented team too.
Yes, I mean, we first saw the Mammoths in our summer series, and every single week that I have gotten the opportunity to cast them, they've improved drastically. They take every opportunity they can to improve, and the coaches this last couple of weeks have been really stressing their boost rotations and boost management to help them maintain their momentum and rotations properly as a team. And for the Mammoths, looking to break into the top tier here, a win over the Barracudas would be huge. I mean, they're already in this position to be in a semifinals for the Octane Cup. That's already amazing. Let's see if they can overcome the hurdle that is the Barracudas. Only down by 1, a little more than 3 minutes on the clock. Plenty of time to even this one out.
Oh, and that was a really impressive save there, which was, only necessary because of a fantastic passing play from the Barracudas. And I think already we're seeing a lot of that Barracudas offense really pop off in the early game. And that's really what they excelled at last time, is finding ways to work together to find the back of the net. Super impressive. The
Barracudas, though, are very guilty of something that we've seen some of the top-tier teams do, such as the Eagles as well, which is overcommitting on goal-scoring opportunities and not maintaining the core mechanics, I feel like, of ensuring the rotations are still clean and there's someone ready to rotate back. But I mean, when all three of you are in front of the goal and Baby can solidify that goal almost immediately, it doesn't matter. Let's see if it does come back to bite them, though, because the Mammoths can capitalize on overcommits.
Yeah, definitely agree. This hard, aggressive playstyle that the Barracudas have does leave them open a lot of the time. But with some good defense from the Mammoths and great transitions downfield, working together to get it out, you could find a lot of open nets on the Barracudas and maybe punish them and turn this series towards their end.
A drift, though, comes in and scoots the goal right by that goalpost on the side. Really difficult to pinch that one out and prevent it from going in anyway. 50-50 goes in favor of Racer, but Quasi Cat comes in right away, sending it to the back third with a follow-up from Baby. Two of the Barracudas kind of stacked on top of each other to make that three as a drift comes in as well. Ball gets volleyed to the other side of the Mammoth side of the field. The Drift Lemming still maintaining possession. Noah tries to get in and send it to a teammate. They send it to Darasu, but it's stopped by Quasi Cat, who's going to elevate with the ball.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out, using the awesome overlay that we have, you can see just by looking at the stats that Barracudas have had most of the pressure this game, and I mean, even here now, they're continuing that pressure, but they're doing a really good job of making sure that they stay in the blue end because they know that's where they're strongest. Look at all the shots, especially from Baby, that they've taken. Even if they haven't all gone in, that's a sure sign that the offense is feeling it right now for the Barracudas.
Baby just earned themselves a hat trick so far for the side of the Barracudas. We have, I want to say, 11 shots on goal, and 4 of them have scored. Only 3 shots coming out from the Mammoths, so there's something that's not quite clicking right now for the Mammoths. However, this could just be them feeling out the Barracudas. We'll have to wait and see. We are just passing the 90-second mark now. Barracudas still up by 4. Mammoths looking to score their first goal, even if it's just for morality purposes. Going into game number 2, knowing that they can at least get some shots in the goal can be a huge momentum and morality boost for themselves.
Yeah, definitely momentum is a huge thing in Rocket League because, you know, at the end of the day, even if they lose this 0-4, it's still just a 1-0 lead in the series. So it's definitely something that with positive momentum and a positive mentality, any team could turn it around from a bad spot.
I mean, our first series we saw as a best of 5. We had the swerve down by 2. Match point was coming out and they did a reverse sweep. It's still something that the Mammoths themselves can pull out, as we do have the Barracudas now up by 5. 47 seconds left on the clock. Not really a chance to close that gap completely, but the Mammoths can still get one on the board. But Baby's trying to put another one in and get themselves another hat trick. Let's see if they can do that, or if the Mammoths are going to find their way to the back third of the Barracuda side of the field. Darasu elevating, drops it down, but unfortunately is right in front of the Barracudas when they hit the ground.
Yeah, and I think they've had several chances now to counteract the Barracuda's offense, but I think what it comes down to at this point is the teamwork is just not quite there yet. You see, most of their clears are pretty decent, but they're not passing to each other, so they lose possession almost instantly after getting the clear.
We're at the 5-second mark. GDL looking to score 1 goal. No time left on the clock. This could be it, and it manages to maintain being in the air for a little bit longer, but with that, Barracudas will walk away with a Game 1 lead. Well, Game 1 victory under their belts. It is still a best of 5, though, so it could go anywhere. But if you had some words of advice for the Mammoths, what would that be? Other than the standard going to this next match as though it's 0-0.
Well, yeah, obviously keep your cool, but if I had to make any adjustments for them, I'd make sure that if we're going to clear the ball like we are, banging it downfield, let's make sure that we're doing it with intent. Let's find one of our teammates, try to cherry pick maybe, or pass it to the sidewall where our teammate is, where he can then air dribble or he can take it down to the ground. But the big thing is that we're making these big clears at best, and we're just passing away possession to the third man because we're not putting any pressure on where that ball lands, right? So if we pass to our teammates and we force them to then at least commit one of the Barracudas to a loss, to a ball that they won't be able to get to, then the transfer of pressure is going to be too overwhelming.
All right, well, to sum it up, operate with intent, have a plan, and try to force the Barracudas to make a mistake, basically, by one of them committing to a play that's happening and not being in the proper positioning.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, let's see if the Mammoths can take these words of advice. They did also have a minute between this game into the next one to talk to their coaches and talk amongst themselves. We'll see if things get cleaned up. The first 50-50 goes in favor of Quasi Cat, who plays it off the wall, but Racer comes in. It's on the back third of the Barracuda side of the field. Drift does dig it out and send it to the midfield. Baby pushes it forward. It's a little too off to the side, but they take out the goalkeeper. Darasu does manage to prevent it from going in. However, they have a lot of pressure on them. Let's see if the Mammoths can find an opportunity for a clear off the ceiling. Noah plays it around one, but can't play it around Gababy after popping it off the ground.
Yeah, and already that Barracuda's pressure is just turning out to be too much. Again, we just knock it downfield with no real intent, so Barracudas knock it right on back, and an over-rotation leads to a goal.
First 50-50, Gababy immediately grabs it. There wasn't a whole lot of momentum off of it, so it's interesting. Mammoths looking like they're trying to overcommit into the goal area to prevent an easy opportunity for Gababy to score, but they need to still be having strong rotations and faith in one another to dig this one out and find clears. The pass from Dura to Racer was perfect, however, there just wasn't enough spacing allowing Gababy to get in there. Send it to the corner, Quasi Cat's going to dig it out and send it right into the goal past two of the Mammoths.
Yeah, and it was they worked together a little bit on the clear, but it just wasn't hard enough. It went right to Team Orange, and the Barracudas knock it off the wall and then just put it in the back of the net.
The Barracudas, in all honesty, had a rather cold winter season for themselves, and they've come out in the spring on fire so far with their roster really coming together, operating as a unit. It's playing out in spades right now for them. However, let's hope that their egos don't start to get the better of them, because they need to maintain the core mechanics of this game and continue to maintain a 2-goal, if not more, lead for themselves, as the clock is now ticking past that 3-minute, 30-second mark.
Yeah, and definitely being down 0-2 is not the end of the world at all. We've seen many times in Esports Towers a large amount of goals we scored in even just 30 seconds. But you have to be thinking about that even after this, they have to make a big adjustment. Something has to change.
I feel like the Mammoths are letting themselves be, in the words of a friend of mine, boxed like a fish into the back of their own side of the field, and they need to start rotating a little bit stronger and claiming more space. It's not as though they have a whole lot of pressure on them currently. The one that has the ball does get pressure from someone, but the Mammoths are not all having someone tagging them, so to speak, when the ball is on their side of the field. So they can rotate into position to be a little bit more stronger and dominating force on this field. They did spread out here on their goal-scoring opportunity, but now we've already seen a double rotate back, and they're kind of bunching up yet again, fearful of an easy goal for the Barracudas.
Yeah, and making no mistakes, the Mammoths also have decent offense, to say the least. But the problem is that they're just not able to hold any of their own pressure, just losing out all these passing plays, or just not quite able to get the big booms downfield past an actual Barracuda member.
One thing I will point out is that Gababy has decided that they, in their own personal time, to watch a lot of professional tips and tricks videos and VODs, and has started incorporating a lot of professional rotations into their own gameplay, and that could be why they're playing so aggressively here, knowing that their skill set is just slightly higher than even probably their own teammates at this point. So perhaps the Mammoths need to start anticipating some big brain rotations themselves and being in position to prevent Gababy from having an easy time with the ball possession that they've been getting thus far.
Gababy definitely has been a huge force for playing this offensive half, as he's been getting a lot of demos just like that one, and doing a really good job of just knocking down the enemy counterattack very quickly.
Darisu's been doing a great job as the goalkeeper. They have 3 saves to themselves already. Noah trying to go off the back wall. Unfortunately, just not enough momentum and not the right angle to get it to angle out for a centering opportunity for a teammate. Ball in the back there to the Mammoth side of the field. We see another demolition come out onto one of the Mammoths. A second one, a drift takes out 2. Quasi Cat looking to dunk it down to a teammate. Fortunately, they will not find one as the rotations are not right on point, but Gababy comes soaring in from the midfield, finding goal number 4 for the Barracudas. And I do believe that nope, never mind, I'm crazy. That is not a hat trick for Gababy. The closest one to a hat trick right now is a drift.
Yeah, and right then it was just another bad clear, just a slow roller into the middle of the field, and I can't really expect much else other than a banger to the back of the net, just like what happened.
I think it's also important for the Mammoths to know that they don't need to be going at Mach 10 consistently on this field. It's okay to slow down a little bit, because if you slow down with ball possession and can lay a demo coming out from one of the Barracudas players, you can take away the tempo control from them and then put it to your own rhythm of the game and throw them off. So going toe-to-toe with the speed-wise of the Barracudas is not always the play you want to be making here for the Mammoths. You can call me crazy if I'm completely wrong, though.
Well, noticing how they like to convert, they are mechanical players still, these Mammoths. And I think you make a really solid point, actually. Maybe the play isn't to do these big 1-2 passes downfield if that's not what's going to work for their play style right now. Maybe the play is to look for these slower dribbling plays. Try to look for maybe a demo downfield, a flick over one, and maybe just try to work together more individually.
We'll see what they can do. They're down by 4. This is game number 2, so it's still, they can still bring this one back, even if this one ends up as a loss. 6 seconds on the clock, just looking to find one extra morality goal for themselves, but the Barracudas looking to find goal number 5. Goes off the back wall. We do find a clear from GDL, and with that, Barracudas walk away with the game 2 victory. They are close to, they are at match point. If they win this next one, that is it. Mammoth's looking to start the reverse sweep. Let's see what they can do. I really hope that they start, you know, like I said, slowing down a little bit. They have passing ability. They have mechanical skills. They can do that. I feel like it's just the speed of the Barracudas that's throwing them off right now.
I think it is that to some extent, and I think it's also just the ball just ends up after a Mammoth touch just in the middle of nowhere with a free touch just offered to the Barracudas. And they had a lot of good opportunities. They had a heartbreaker that bounced off of the crossbar and just barely didn't find his way in. And you got to wonder, maybe that would have helped them swing the momentum just a little bit more. Being 1-3 in that situation and having their first goal of the series might have made a big difference. But now their back's against the wall, so I'd like to see them maybe slow it down and look for those singular plays.
All right, I think now is the appropriate time for you to give the standard words of advice, honestly, to the Mammoths.
Reset, play like this is game 1, and try to find holes that kind of don't usually show themselves.
Yeah, that is honestly the best advice that any esports player could be giving to another player in the same position. And we're going to jump right into this next game. As I mentioned, Barracudas at match point. Mammoths looking to start the reverse sweep. Who will come out on top? The next 5 minutes will tell.
Oh, what a pinch.
Shot on goal. Beautiful. That's what we want to see. And that was honestly perfect.
Yeah, an amazing pinch pass that landed right on Racer. And Racer being in the right position at the right time, I mean, that's most of Rocket League there. Oh, and the pressure already. Mammoths really bringing it to him.
What just happened?
After being shut scoreless for what I think amounted to 9 goals. In the first 30 seconds, they have 2 goals already. Kind of an insane start to them. I'd really like to see where the rest of the series is going.
We're now centering it up to a teammate. Gababy doesn't look like they had enough. Yeah, Gababy actually had no boost there, so they were not able to keep up. Darisu looking to center it up to a teammate. They get a little bit of pressure on them. Gababy tries to find the clear here. It's going to get sent to the corner by GDL. DeBaby dunking it down at the midfield stripe. Racer sending it to the side. They have Quasi Cat looking to dunk down in front of the goal or off the back wall to Gababy. They do find it, but Racer blocks it. Great pinch play, but all 3 members of the Mammoths are right next to each other again, so they need to start spreading out to find a clear. Racer will get another save, sending it to the side. Quasi Cat comes in for another opportunity to collide with Racer in flight. We do see a demo from a drift happen on to one of the Mammoths players, but the Mammoths find the ball in the back third of the Barracuda side of the field.
Yeah, and definitely this feels like a much more even match. A lot of back and forth this time. Mammoths really finding the way out. Ooh, that is unfortunate. It looked kind of like it knocked against one of them and then in, but without replay, it's hard to tell.
Either way, if you weren't there, it was going to go in. If you were, it still went in. It's one of those situations where the physics of the game just aren't in your favor. I would rather you be there and it accidentally hit you in a pinch like that and go in than you not be there and leave an open goal. That's just my opinion. However, I'm not your coach.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not the end of the world still. They still have a lead. They still got to be feeling good about how it's going right now. And they have had a lot of pressure this game already, so I imagine that they're feeling pretty hyped still.
3 minutes, a little over 3 minutes left on the clock. Mammoths are actually up by 1 for once. It's a great position for them to be in. They're looking for a security goal here. Their field presence right now is above and beyond what we got to see from them earlier. Racer has possession, plays it into the corner of the wall. Doesn't manage, Gababy can't manage to get a touch on it, so Darisu sends it to Racer on the side. A drift comes in because he took a few too many touches, a little too slow. Gababy off the back wall tries to center it up, but it ends up clearing all the way to the midfield stripe. Darisu now having to play around Quasi Cat. Can they do it? They do, but it's volleyed back to the mid. Gababy just barely touches over Racer off the back wall. Drift trying to corral this ball. Has a double commit from the Mammoths that works out in the favor of them. GDL looking to dunk this ball down in the corner, but Quasi Cat's right there.
Yeah, and you can see the back and forth is really here now. The Mammoths feel awake, and oh, Heartbreak again, almost the exact same thing that happened last time, just barely not being able to get in front of it properly and just pinched into the back of the net.
It happens. It's okay. We're tied to a side, basically 0-0. Gababy pushing the ball back towards their own goal. We've seen that as a play multiple times, but it's not really smart as you're giving up a lot of field possession to the other team. GDL comes in, tries to take this ball away from Gababy. They managed to do it with a little help from Darius, who shot on goal a little too wide. Is there a follow-up touch? There might be from GDL. They're going to elevate, pop it up here into the corner, trying to keep it away from a drift. At the midfield, Darisu gets possession. We do see Racer going back towards their own goal. Let's see if they can maintain possession. And never mind, Racer turned around, helps maintain ball possession for a few more moments. GDL comes back in, dragging the ball down towards the goal. They do collide with one of the Barracudas members. Clear at the midfield, Racer stopping it, trying to pop it up over Quasi Cat. They lose possession. Darisu goes for the pop again. Third touch from GDL. Will they get it around Quasi Cat? They finally do. Will they find the back of the net? Gababy maintaining a little possession right now for the Barracudas.
Yeah, and I think we're actually seeing a lot of what you talked about, your great point from earlier. A lot more flicks being attempted, a lot more solo plays being kind of attempted here. And I really like also how they're giving themselves the 1-2 off the wall. They're passing to themselves instead of their team, and it's making it really difficult to read and really hard for Barracudas to respond properly.
I feel like in any sort of esports event, nicely done, Barracudas. You're up by 1, but 56 seconds on the clock. Mammoths can bring this back still. It's okay to have a plan A, but you should always have a plan B, and it should be a very obvious plan B so that no one can really predict which one's going to end up happening. And you're showing me a face right now that is of, like, what in the Nuggets just happened. Can you explain to me why you look so shocked?
Well, that was wild.
Yes.
The kickoff was kind of weird. Kind of looked like either the Mammoths had a plan that didn't quite go through, or they messed it up somehow and barely almost missed. Not to mention the last goal that was scored, it kind of looked like Mammoths just kind of had a mechanical blunder, didn't get their car on the ball, and it seemed like the shot was right at them, but I guess it didn't have their perspective, so we'll never know. But definitely some mechanical blunders overall from those last two plays from the Mammoths, and I gotta wonder if they're feeling the pressure now or if they're gonna bounce back.
They've got 10 seconds to bounce back if they're going to. The ball's on the back third of the Barracuda side of the field, and the Barracuda's at the mid now, very bunched up. Quasi Cat spikes the ball high. I know the Mammoths can keep this ball in the air. Will they manage to do it? They will not. Ball's going to hit the ground. Barracudas block away with a Game 3 win, but it was not an easy win by any means. That was a fantastic fight that the Mammoths put on. Congratulations, guys. You made it very far in this week's Rumble, and I'm sure you'll go even further next week. But for now, the Barracudas will walk away with an 0-3 victory against the Mammoths. Definitely not as easy as they'd hoped it would be. However, they will be going on to play against the Swerve in our next match. And if you want the opportunity to possibly, be seen by recruiters, talk directly to industry insiders like pro athletes, game general managers, and game producers, or, land a scholarship, then you should join the club. Esports Tower players get insider access to industry insights, and with our featured Rumble, recruiters are taking notice as well. It's a great way to score exposure if you're looking to start your path to pro or land one of those beautiful scholarships that we brought up earlier. Check it out at esportstower.com. All right, so that was nerve-wracking, to say the least. I feel like the Mammoths put on a very, very strong show near the end there. They just needed to find that momentum in the very beginning. They don't have to play into the Barracudas game. They can play their own game. And when they were playing their own game, they were doing phenomenal.
Yeah, it felt like even after the loss the second game, it felt like they were just inching ever so closer to making that break point and getting to a point where they could start contesting for real on offense. And right at the end there, that last game, they had it. And if every game was like that, we could have definitely seen a Mammoths take this series. But at the end of the day, the Barracudas played cleaner Rocket League for more games than they did, and that's just how the game works.
My advice going forward to our Mammoth players is definitely going to be play your own game. You guys have your strengths. You made it to that semifinals for a reason. I hope next week we see you in the exact same spot and you can overcome whomever you're matched up against. But for now, we do have the Barracudas going into our Octane Grand Finals against the Swerve. And can they take back that championship title, or will they walk away with a loss to what I would consider their pseudo-twin team? Only time will tell. We'll find out after this break.
Here are a couple lessons I've learned over the years. Friendships come in all shapes and sizes. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your guard adventure.
Welcome back to this broadcast, the Esports Tower Rumble. We're broadcasting it from the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. It's time for our Octane Bracket Grand Finals. The Barracudas are looking to be back-to-back champions. Can the Swerve knock them off of the top of the tower? Nerdy and Tacky here to call all of the action. So you asked me during the break if the Barracudas are kind of, the top-tier team, and I'm pretty sure what I just said kind of clarified and solidified that idea that, yes, they are for you. During the Winter Rumble, they kind of were a little cold and iced out by kind of the new other Titan teams that Esports Tower has created, but now they're exactly where they wanted to be, going for a Grand Championship title yet again, and I'm interested to see if the Swerve could knock them off, because when we had the Barracudas at the beginning, like the beginning of Esports Tower, the Swerve were created kind of to be the counter team to them, and this is the matchup I've been waiting for, to see them both in a Grand Championship opportunity, gunning for the title. And before we actually get into that game, I want to take a quick look at the bracket that we had, so you can see the teams that everyone had to go against for this portion of our championship series. We had the Lions take on the Swerve, the Barracudas take on the Mammoths, and for the Swerve, they won out their game against the Lions in a fabulous reverse sweep. The Barracudas did walk away with a 3-0 victory against the Mammoths. It was not an easy victory, as in game number 3, the Mammoths came out swinging. Now we are about to jump into, finally, the exciting Swerve versus Barracudas Grand Finals, and I do believe, in production, correct me if I'm wrong, that this is a best-of-7 game.
Well, they haven't corrected us. So, yeah, this is a long one. Isn't it? And I'm super excited to see where this goes. Obviously, we have the Barracudas, super talented team, and I haven't seen a ton of the Swerve, but I imagine getting to this point, they're just as talented.
Yes, they are. And their roster earlier today showed a return of a member who used to play for the Barracudas, actually. Their name is Quez. They kind of took most of the winter series off. Returning, it'll be interesting to see how that works out if Quez is going to be put in on this game because they're, like I said, they're kind of going against their twins, so to speak. And in that regard, the players that are going to be on the Barracuda side know how Quez likes to play. So if Quez does not pull out all the stops here and change things from how they used to play, lots of aerial play, lots of fancy goals, I don't think they're going to have a good... Oh, my apologies. It is a best of 5. I don't think they're going to have as easy as a time as they hope to in this next game. What are you hoping to see, though, considering that these are kind of top echelon teams, as well as a team you have not had the opportunity really to watch?
Well, as a counter-argument to your first point, on the flip side, Quez also knows how his former teammates play, obviously. And so there could be a lot of mind games and Princess Bride-esque stuff going on there. But more likely, we're going to see both teams kind of play to kind of their comfort levels. Obviously, the Barracudas are coming out of a victory, so I expect kind of a lot out of them. They have a reputation ahead of them, and to some extent the spotlight should be on them because they won last time. They're winning this time too. They're a crazy good team, but without a doubt they have to keep a watch for that target on their back, and Swerve is aiming at it for sure. And we'll have to see what Quez has in store for us and what he's brought to the table with his team that he's joined now.
I definitely wholeheartedly agree with you. And before we jump into our game, we do have some words of advice for all of the teams that are competing, as well as players that could be watching right now for their games later today or in the future on their own free time. And those words of advice come in the forms of Doc's keys to the game in Rocket League, and they are create mistakes, punish the overcommit, play walls better, and demo in the goal. Doc's keys to the game are presented by Esports Tower. Score pro advice at esportstower.com. Improve your game sense, improve your team play, and improve your performance under pressure. You'll get matched with great players and professional coaches to help you rank up. All right. This is it. It's time. We are going to jump into our game of the Barracudas versus the Swerve. I do believe, yes, right now we have Flux, Sketch, and Quan in for the Swerve, and for the Barracudas, it is going to be Adrift, Gababy, and Crazy Cat Uwu. Our color overlay is swapped here, so know that Gababy's team is the Barracudas and Flux's team is the Swerve.
Yeah, and so we're not seeing Quez, unfortunately, but I think it still should be a good game. I mean, they made it this far. And honestly, so far this kind of seems slow. It seems like both teams are feeling each other out. Kind of maybe the Barracudas aren't sure necessarily what they're getting into yet, and now they're getting a little bit caught on an overcommit, which is kind of notorious Barracuda at this point.
We have Quan win the 50-50. Crazy Cat's trying to come in and take that ball away. It does get spiked into the midfield and pop it off the ceiling. Double commit there coming out from the Barracudas. Ball off the ceiling again from Gababy. It's going to be returned by Sketch to the back third of the Swerve side, of the Barracuda side of the field. Yet again, ball at the mid. Crazy Cat looking to corral it here, sends it off the wall, has a drift come in behind them, plays it around Sketch. Can they play it around Flux? They cannot. Flux going forward, has an open goal opportunity, and with that, the Swerve find goal number 2 from yet another overcommit from the Barracudas.
Yeah, and I need to correct from last time. It was not the Barracudas that got caught over on the overextend. They did this time. The color overlay confused me. However, it is really interesting to see both teams immediately caught off guard by kind of being too far upfield and not having someone back to handle the open net. So we're going to have to see. This is probably going to be a really aggressive game. Probably a lot of back and forth as they kind of lean into this match.
That is goal number 2 for the Barracudas. Swerve have 1 goal in their pocket as well. Still plenty of time left on the clock. Does look like the Swerve got a little bit bunched up, though. Crazy Cat can't. Oh, sorry, the Barracudas got bunched up. Crazy Cat couldn't stop the ball from going past them, and now we're tied 2 aside. Plenty of time on the clock. Might as well be 0-0.
Yeah, and 4 goals scored in a minute 30 is like a lot of goals from either team. And like I guessed before, this is a pretty aggressive game. But on that end, that last goal wasn't even necessarily an overcommit. We just didn't make contact with the ball when we were on our challenge.
Sketch comes in, takes the ball away from above Crazy Cat. Sketch at the midfield, looking to play it off the wall. It does hit off the ceiling, so they can't quite get the length of the pass they wanted to a teammate. It's a 2v1, slight double commit there from the Swerve. Can they play it around a drift? They will not. Quasicat rotating back. Quan trying to put pressure on a drift. Quan now with possession, trying to dunk it down to the net. Does not have a follow-up touch from a teammate. So Drift gets possession, tries to play it around Flux. Flux just gets the tail end of the car on it to send it across the side of the field, but Kababy beats any of the Swerve players there.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth, a lot of play at midfield as both teams are trying to solidify their pressure for the minute, and it just kind of feels like they're still not necessarily sure. They're tentatively moving around. They're not really sure how they want to play this, and the Barracudas have started to speed it up a little bit, but we're definitely not seeing the same kind of pressure we saw out of them from the Mammoths earlier.
This is a best-of-5 series, and they probably are well aware that Barracudas going against the Swerve means that the Swerve deserve to be where they're at. We have Quasicat finding another goal for the side of the Barracudas, so they're now at the 4. My apologies. I got the Swerve finding a second goal. Barracudas are at 3, so down by 1 currently. So Barracudas are aware that Swerve made it here to the Grand Championship and deserve as much respect as the Barracudas themselves do. So they can't be overcommitting and egoing too much here, because they will be taken advantage of if they leave the ball open too long, the goal open too long, or rotating poorly.
Yeah, and definitely these are both teams that are well over good enough to punish the very simple mistakes and really force the team to have to play not only the correct and most optimal way, but also creatively.
Ball sails across the front of the Swerve's goal. Flux looking to pop it up. Manages to do it, has Quan dunk it down. They have played around a drift, though, who flies over 2 members of the Swerve. Quasicat looking to corral it in the corner. He gets a shot on goal. Crossbar not their friend. Secondary shot from Gababy is just a little too wide. Flux finds the clear, but can't get it past a Drift Lemming. A Drift shot is going to be followed up by themselves. Hits that corner, and unfortunately, they're forced to reset.
Yeah, a lot of missed opportunities there from the Barracudas. Definitely a couple open nets that should have found the back of the net, but not something to beat yourself up too much over, because you still have the lead. Keep your cool together. You definitely still have this game. And that, wow.
Yep. And now that lead is not there anymore, I believe, if I'm keeping track of.
That doesn't seem right. Well, I did caster's curse it, regardless of what the scoreboard says. But to some extent, you gotta hand it to, I believe it was Sketch, who had a very good dunk on the enemy team, and then followed it up with a good pinch off the ground and finding the back of the net. Really, that is exactly what I was talking about earlier, with that creativity and finding ways to make holes.
Okay, so it is and isn't correct. This is going to be hard to describe. Orange team does have 4 goals, but the name is not proper. That is the Swerve who are in orange, and the Barracudas are the ones in blue who do have 2 goals themselves. Sorry for the confusion, it'll be fixed in the next game, but now we're at the 3-second mark, down by 2. Barracudas probably cannot bring this back. Quasicat looking to find just 1 extra goal. Ball still hasn't hit the ground yet. We know that these teams have some aerial play gifts. Quan trying to maintain possession. It does get popped up off of Gababy's hood. Gababy backing up here in the corner, trying to take the ball away from Flux. A Drift trying to send it to the other corner. Barracuda struggling to find a clear, cannot find it, and the Swerve walked away with a Game 1 win.
So the Barracudas did lose that one.
Yes.
Okay.
And if we're wrong, we can be corrected.
Well, regardless, if we're going to assume the next one is just like Game 1, that was really interesting. A lot of back and forth. It almost felt like the Barracudas kind of knew what they were getting themselves into to some extent, because they definitely slowed down their gameplay and played with what felt like a lot less confidence than what they had with the Mammoths. And I know it's a different opponent entirely, but like I said before, the mental game is huge. So having that confidence, whether or not it's justified, is going to make a big deal in terms of your performance. And I'd argue that they could probably play a little bit more of their own game this next time.
I actually agree with you quite a bit. Getting mentally toyed with a little bit, doing it to yourself, I feel like is much worse than having someone try and like get you tilted or mentally boom you from the other side. It's a lot harder to dig yourself out of that type of mental gameplay, though, so hopefully these guys are rooting each other on and cheering each other up. We do know that both Adrift as well as Gababy have been working on keeping their mental prowess and stamina up and their mental state in good standing, so let's see if that comes through here. They are down by 1 game. No one's at match point just yet. Still plenty of time left on the clock for them to start turning this one around.
Yeah, definitely agree. And I think working on mentality with esports and with anything you're trying to improve on, whether that's working out or real sports like baseball, I think that's so huge and it's super underrated. And I think taking the time to work on it is super respectable as these players. And I'm really glad Esports Tower is the kind of place where people can go to learn about mentality as well as how to play the game, because it really will separate you from the good and the great players in anything you try to do.
Don't get mentally tilted is the best advice that I feel like any of us could give from the desk. But at the end of the day, we aren't the ones in the comms, it's the players, so it's up to you guys to keep each other in the right mental headspace. We have the ball here getting passed off the back wall to Jababy, who finds goal number 1 for the Barracudas, taking almost an entire minute to do so. And that means that teams are playing much more equal to one another than we saw in that first game.
Yeah, definitely agree. And a really good start to the Barracudas. You got to be feeling good after that one. Again, the pressure is just super important to your mental, and it's really going to help them flip around the results from last time. Some really great offense so far from the Barracudas.
Ball yet again on the back third of the Barracuda side of the field. They're all lined up horizontally with one another. Need to start spreading out a bit, creating those open triangles to find a clearing opportunity. But the Swerve are putting on a lot of pressure and tagging the other opponent open players very well. Shot on goal going to be a little bit too high. Baby with possession has a drift to pass to Quasi Cat, waiting at the midfield to try and get this return volley from Quan. Quan and Quasi Cat going after one another. Quan cannot beat Quasi to the ball. Quasi Cat now with possession, elevates to the mid, but dunks it down and unfortunately ends up with Sketch, who has no one to beat. Drift comes in just in time to prevent that goal from going in.
And a heroic save from the Barracudas there to just barely get in front of it before Sketch had the opening to take the shot. And definitely they're feeling the burn a little bit as Swerve is kind of circling like sharks around their net.
It's a little interesting the Barracudas would be having sharks around them considering they're Barracudas.
I mean, yeah, you're right on that.
Aquatic jokes.
Yeah.
I try to make puns. I'm not good at them. We have Flux now with possession. Can't get it past Quasi Cat. Quasi Cat, though, will have Quan grab the ball out of that corner. Quan elevates, plays it around Gababy. Can they play it around another? They cannot, but Flux is going to be there for the secondary touch. It's going to be a little bit too high and a little too far to one side. Sketch at the mid gets taken out by Gababy, but Quan will elevate, bringing the ball off the back wall, trying to center it up to Flux. Flux finds the back of the net.
Yeah, no one there for the Barracudas. Something went wrong there for sure, but really good passing play from Swerve as they were able to kind of just either break down Barracuda's defense or find the mistake that was just handed to them.
Quasi Cat slowing down a little too much there, allowed Flux to come in and pinch the ball off the corner. Drift tries to come in and help out. Quan now has the opportunity to get a shot on goal, but can't play it around Gababy. All three members of the Barracudas bunching up quite a bit. Sketch has Gababy putting a lot of pressure on them to keep them away from their teammate Quan. It does get taken away by Sketch, though. Flux has Gababy on them, so Gababy steals the ball away for a few moments. In mid-flight, Quan gets a touch on it. Sketch trying to prevent the ball from crossing the midfield stripe with a little help from Flux. It gets pushed right in front of the Barracudas' goal. Adrift goes for the return, bringing it all the way down to the back third on the Barracuda side of the field. Touch from Jababy. Is it going to go in? It will. And with that, I do believe the Barracudas are now up by one with with 98 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, that was really good. I'd like to see the Barracudas take the pressure that they've been feeling all game from the Swerve, get it out of their end, and work together to find the back of the net. A great shot from Gababy.
The Drift's going Mad Max mode yet again and taking out a couple players in every single one of the rotations that they're doing. Flux trying to push away some of the Barracudas out of their own goal. Quan with possession has an opportunity to center it up to a teammate. Instead, they're going to dunk it down past Quasi Cat. It's going to get set back towards the Swerve side of the field. Sketch returns the volley, but none of their team are ready at the midfield, so they're forced to rotate back towards the goal again. Sketch has the ball stolen away. It's in front of the goal, gets set to the side by Quan.
Definitely feels like we're seeing a lot of panic right now from both teams on their own defense. Maybe some double commits, maybe bunching up quite a bit, and just kind of not getting the best touches all the time. But when we do put it together, we find a lot of open nets because both these teams seem to play a lot of really upfield offense.
Gababy with no pressure on them dunks the ball down in front of the Swerve's goal. Sketch plays it around one. Can they play it around another? They will not, because they pushed the ball too far in front of them and then it rolled behind them. Now we've got Quan playing it around one. They have to get to Flux quickly as Drift is putting pressure on them, as is Quasi Cat. We have Sketch come in to try and maintain possession. Ball gets dunked down at the mid by Gababy. Drift picks up possession and has Gababy behind them to help out. Sketch pops the ball up. Quan dunks it back down to the midfield where Sketch is waiting, but Quasi Cat comes in, shoots the ball at the goal. Flux is there for the save. Adrift trying to get another opportunity for a centering pass to a teammate, ends up over tossing it, and with that, Barracudas walk away with a Game 2 victory, just squeaking by the Swerve by 1 goal.
That was some really solid Rocket League all around. I feel like there wasn't a whole lot of really big mistakes that led to just weird stuff, but there were a couple open nets, but that's kind of classic for both these teams, is kind of overextending a little bit. Definitely something they could still work on, but I really like to see the midfield game played as hard as it was, and I really liked how the Barracudas adapted to being on defense for a long time, and they didn't let it stress them out too much. They made their way down the field and turned just one bad hit from the Swerve into something that was a counterattack that could find the back of the net and then pull them ahead.
At this level of gameplay, it's definitely a lot of games and mistakes, and you can try and force a team to make those mistakes based off of how you play, but if you feel like you're really equally matched, you have to honestly play the waiting game and wait for them to do it themselves, and that's exactly what the Barracudas did. Now we're tied 1-1 though, and both teams trying to get themselves at match point. Do you have any words of advice to help either team squeak by the other one to come out on top of this next match?
I think if you have been thinking about it or maybe working on it, both teams need to be thinking about their midfield and making sure that they're not allowing any of these random kind of open nets to happen, because if one of those teams turns that off, I don't know how they're going to be able to beat it. I mean, good offense is good offense, but defense is sometimes the best offense.
Yes, that is something that applies to both soccer, football, basketball, and Rocket League. Let's see if these teams take your words of advice or if they play their own game. We have Quan elevating, trying to drop the ball down to the side of the field, but the Barracudas putting on a lot of pressure. Flux finds an opportunity to pass it to Sketch, but again, they're just not spread out enough to find an easy clear. Quasi Cat comes in. Quan breaks through their defense, bringing the ball to the backside of the Barracuda side of the field. Adrift comes in. Gababy's got to take out Quan, though, so it's a 2v3 here on the Barracuda side of the field. Flux pops the ball high, sends it to Sketch, but it is already back on the Swerve side of the field.
Definitely starting off with a lot of back and forth here. Big boomers downfield over and over again, beating one or two people at a time, but just responded to so well by the other team. Kind of looks like a weird matchup in the corner there, but definitely no double commit so far, so that's good.
Flux has kind of a double team on them coming from two of the Barracuda's members. Adrift trying to figure out where they're going to put pressure on Sketch. They find it, dunk the ball down at the midfield. Quasi Cat comes in a little delayed, but it's not punished fast by the Swerve. Ball is sent to the midfield as one of the Barracuda's members is taken out. Centered up by Quan to a teammate, but Adrift gets in the passing lane first. Flux goes for a secondary follow-up. Sketch looking to center it up to Flux, but Gababy is maintaining a lot of possession, holding the ball on top of their car. Sketch finds it and sends it to the side of the field where Quan is waiting to drag it down, but can't get it past Quasi Cat.
A really quiet start, but make no mistake, just because goals haven't been scored doesn't mean there hasn't been opportunities. A lot of aggression from both teams, trying to find that upper edge, but also kind of doing what I was talking about, where they're making sure that there's no holes on their defensive end so that they can't be punished for those mistakes that they routinely get punished by.
We have Gababy playing it off the wall, trying to get it past Flux. They can't, though, because Sketch comes in to help them out. Adrift pops the ball up. It goes off the ceiling. Gababy's not there in time, so Flux gets a few touches on it. Quasi Cat comes in as well. Adrift dunks it down to Gababy. Can Gababy play it out of this corner? They can, because Adrift comes back in to help them out. And with that, Barracudas find goal number 1, 2 minutes, 43 seconds on the clock.
I think that was a really fantastic play from the Barracudas. I love that they adapted. I love that they said, okay, we're not going to be able to knock them down normally. We're not stressing out their defense enough. Let's find a demo. Let's get it across the net. Let's get a demo, and let's pop this open net.
Quasi Cat plays it off the wall around Sketch. Flux, though, comes in to help Sketch out. They have the opportunity to play it off the back wall, but their teammate that we're going to play it to gets completely obliterated, forcing the Swerve to quickly rotate back to towards their own goal. Gababy trying to corral the ball down onto the ground. Adrift stops the return volley. Members have respawned for the Swerve finally. Quasi Cat plays around Quan. Can't play it around Flux, though. Flux has 3 members getting up on them. They play it off the wall. again losing possession, but Sketch comes in to help them out. Double commit on Sketch. It allows the Barracudas to break through the defense of the Swerve. Another demolition, doesn't matter. Quan sends a return volley across the midfield, has to gang up on QuazyCat and Drift because two of them are just going against whomever has possession here for the Swerve. Swerve need to adapt and start doing quick give and goes here because of the amount of double commits that are happening onto whomever has possession right now for them. Ball still on the back there to the Barracuda side of the field, though.
Yeah, I definitely agree. They could be trying some more midfield passing plays here with the give and go method, but you kind of also ask, is the Barracuda's defense also adapted to this strength? And ooh, as I say that, every time I open my mouth about defense.
It happens, it's okay. I don't think there's really any way to avoid it.
No, there isn't. But that was still a really impressive shot from the Swerve, a really good solo play. And I think, honestly, both teams are doing a really good job of adapting and saying, all right, what is working? What have we not tried? Let's find the back of the net using that.
Ball gets popped up in front of the net. Two of the Barracudas members go past the Swerve and end up too deep to do anything. However, the tertiary touch, awkward ping pong action does happen. Ball does not end up crossing that line completely. And as I say that, never mind. Barracudas find goal number 2 for themselves. 56 seconds left on the clock. Plenty of time for the Swerve to bring this one back. But as I mentioned, they need to start focusing on the give and go here at the mid because of the double commits that happen on whomever has possession for the Swerve. Sketch gets a touch on it, but QuazyCat comes in, tries to steal it away. Lots of collisions happening on the side of the field. And with that conundrum, it does look like there was a shot on goal. However, it was too fast and bounced back way too far for the Swerve to capitalize on. Sketch looking to dunk it down to Quan. Quan centering it up. Their team is kind of on their back heel right now, looking for an opportunity. Shot on goal turned away by QuazyCat. Less than 30 seconds on the clock now. Adrift trying to find goal number 3 for their team. Swerve just trying to find the equalizer.
And Quan gets a play pass 2 here. The solo play is really coming out for them, and you've got to think that maybe that was their plan all along, was to get these solo plays going, because now they've had 2 really solid attempts at goals. One of them actually worked with solo plays, but like you said, they're going to have to mix it up a little bit. They're going to have to look for the passing plays. They're going to have to look for the give and goes. They got to mix it up, otherwise finding the back of the net is going to be too hard. They're going to be too predictable.
There was just... Honestly, I don't know how it worked out for so long for the Barracudas. It was the constant double committing on whomever had possession. I just don't think that should go unpunished as much as it was. I understand it can put a lot of mental pressure on someone and a lot of anxiety on them when they see that happening, but that is when they need to start realizing either change the pace you're moving at, do the give and go, look for openings. If there's 2 people on you, one of your teammates has no one on them, find them.
Yep.
It's a simple math equation at that point. Play it off the wall, center it up to someone else if that's happening. And if you're finding a double commit in mid-flight, dunk it down to a teammate. That is my advice. I'm not nearly as gifted at Rocket League as you are. But, I mean, other than you can completely tell me I'm crazy, by the way.
No, your assessment is correct. It seems like they might have come into it with a plan of solo playing, but the issue is that either they're not calming or they're not, frankly, using their eyes to look around enough to say, hey, he's already doing that, right? And I think so. Your assessment is absolutely correct. And even if they weren't double committing on all that, solo playing is really not consistent enough to be the only strategy you're going for. Maybe to mix it up, you look for one person going for the solo play just to knock it off the backboard, and that would throw them off. And then the second guy, the striker, could come in and then knock it in off the backboard, right? But you're going to have to mix it up a little bit more than just these back and forth of air dribbles and weird flicks. And I think it's definitely something to think about for them, where they have to communicate a little bit more, and they're going to have to look for each other.
Barracuda is currently at match point, looking for a Game 3 victory for themselves. Swerves have one as well, trying to get themselves to match point. Barracudas might be able to lock down this championship title for themselves and walk away with the win. Swerve might have something to say about that, though. We do have Gababy bringing the ball forward right now into the back third of the Swerve side of the field.
Yeah, and I think this is honestly kind of what I was expecting already, as the Barracudas starting to feel themselves a little bit more. They're like, okay, we got this. That first game, kind of a little bit off, but now we're right back where we used to be, playing super aggressive, get in their face, and try to make plays happen.
Got Flux bringing it into the back corner. Quan coming to help them out. Pops it up over Gababy. Is there a tertiary touch? There is from Sketch, but all 3 members of the Barracudas pretty clumped up back here, trying to prevent no easy goal opportunity. That does mean, though, Swerve have dominance over the field. Off the wall pass from Quanda themselves. Sketch is going to play it off the back wall, looking for an opportunity to send it back to a teammate. Unfortunately, awkward geometry result in it. I think that was a double demo possibly in the corner. Nope, it was just one demo onto the Barracudas, so this forward push might be shut down quickly as we finally have the respawn happening now. Flux plays it around QuazyCat, can't play it around Gababy though. Quan looking to bring this ball down at the Barracuda side of the field, can't play it around them just quite though. Off the wall, we have a centering opportunity. It is going to be missed out on, and because of the overcommit, the Barracudas find goal number 1.
Yeah, I mean, just like I was talking about before, I mean, the defensive breakdown, nobody's there to respond to just an easy shot at net, and you gotta think now, Swerve's kind of got their back against the wall. They're feeling it, the classic heat that everyone feels when they play against the Barracudas, and the adjustment has to be made now. There's no more time to talk about it. You guys have to focus, you have to get your communication going, and you have to be willing to make the hard plays.
We'll see if the Swerve are able to take your advice here as they have 3 minutes left on the clock to start pulling ahead from the Barracudas. Gababy, though, is going to drag the ball completely across the net and cross the line themselves, bringing them up by 2. 3 minutes and 3 seconds on the clock. Plenty of time for the Swerve to bring this one back. They win the 50-50 kickoff. Gababy's taken out by Sketch. Flux comes in, but they're a little bit too slow, so they're going to collide with QuazyCat in mid-flight. Adrift is going to capitalize on the ball's weird ricochet, bringing it in front of the Swerve goal.
Yeah, and I can really tell based off that solo play and the amount of cherry picking that the Barracudas are attempting, and honestly the demos too, that the Barracudas feel most at home in the enemy end of the field. And so the Swerve right now have to be thinking about, okay, if we're looking for anything right now, we're definitely looking for these overcommits because they're feeling themselves. Maybe they're letting their guard down. Maybe they're just thinking a little bit too much about how fancy their plays are getting. And so we have to look at punishing that classic mistake that both teams have made, and we also have to look at what can we do to punish that mistake. And honestly, it comes back to what you said, yes, last game, passing. Please pass the ball. Spread out, pass the ball.
We have Drift try to pass it to Gababy, but Gababy's moving a little bit too slow, and they get bullied a little bit by some of the Swerve members. Gababy, though, takes out one. Flux looking to take the ball away from Adrift. Instead, there's another demolition shortly thereafter on QuazyCat. Gababy takes out, I believe that might have been Sketch. Yes, it was, but Adrift is still responding. Gababy has possession, no pressure on them coming from the Swerve. They're gonna pop. They have the opportunity to pop the ball up. They get it around Quan. No one in front of them. Barracudas find goal number 3. We have 101 seconds left in this game. The Barracudas are at match point. The Swerve need to start doing something here, lest they walk away with the runner-up cup in for themselves as opposed to the championship title.
Yeah, and that goal is honestly just another big overextension. Someone challenged that flick before he'd even committed to the flick. And so it left Barracudas up with many options as what they could take for that shot. And honestly, I gotta chalk up to Swerve feeling the pressure and Swerve kind of losing their grip on, I would say, the basics of rotation.
That is unfortunate. They have just over a minute to score 3 goals. We've seen 4 goals tonight, scored in 90. Last week we saw 4 in 1 minute per team. So let's see if the Swerve can channel that same type of energy and start turning this around for themselves. Gababy in a cherry-picking position. Instead, I believe, yes, Adrift and Quan will end up taking each other out for a few moments there. Off the back wall, though, Sketch is our follow-up touch. There is not. The double commit from the Barracuda saves the ball, but it's not punished right away by the Swerve. Ball already on the back there to the Swerve side of the field.
Yeah, and we're seeing the Swerve. They almost had another goal there. They almost had an opportunity to get involved, but just barely missing it. Swerve just not quite able to get the read. And admittedly, that's a hard read when it comes straight down in waterfalls like that.
We have Quan get demoed. They have respawn. QuazyCats respawn as well. Flux pops the ball up high in front of the Swerve, in front of the Barracuda's goal. It seems like these shots on goal are just not at the right angle because they're happening too quickly. It is okay. You have time normally to take a breath and make sure that your shot is where it needs to be rather than just trying to go as fast as possible to solidify a goal, which is what it seemed like the Swerve were doing. And unfortunately, the Barracudas managed to take advantage of that and will walk away with the Octane Cup Championship. Swerve did get 1 game for themselves, so nicely done. Barracudas, though, ended up closing out the remainder of the game after that first round loss.
Yeah, definitely impressive gameplay from the Barracudas. They did a really good job of bouncing back after that first game that maybe didn't go exactly the way they wanted. And I think they did a really good job of adapting, too. They still had a little bit of their classic mistakes, but honestly, part of the classic mistakes of the Barracudas is the classic Grand Champion victories at this point.
I agree with you wholeheartedly yet again there as well. And part of the thing that comes with these Grand Championships is an opportunity to be seen by expert college recruiters, talk directly to industry insiders like pro athletes, game general managers, and game producers. Esports Tower players get insider access to industry insights with our featured rumbles. Recruiters are taking notice of these events as well. It's a great way to score exposure if you're looking to start your path to pro or land a collegiate scholarship. All right, before we hand out our ICCU Player of the Night, we have some bonus matches with some more unique modes. I personally never have, other than Drop Shot, have never touched what we're about to witness in my entire life thus far. I believe it's Hoops. Have you played Hoops?
Maybe 20 games total.
All right. Oh, wait. No. Okay, so the first one's not Hoops. The first one's going to be normal soccer with unlimited boosts. What do you anticipate is going to happen as a result of this?
A lot of freestyling and solo play, if I had to expect. A lot of what you'd expect to see. If you play a lot of Rocket League, it's probably the kind of things you'd expect to see out of free play, where everyone's kind of going for crazy stuff that you can't usually do with limited boost.
I feel like we're going to see a lot of explosions.
Oh, yeah.
And a note for everyone who's watching, these teams and players are independent of the Octane Cup. They just want to have some fun matches for everyone involved, so we'll be excited to see what ends up coming out. We see a very quick goal there from Darius, who it does look like Galaxy Esports Tower is down one player right now. Let's see if the 2v3 strat works out in their favor, though.
It looks like it might also be with some amplification to the ball's bounciness slightly. I'm not quite sure. It looks a little bit, well, to say the least, the start is definitely in the favor of the Gators, considering they have a player up and they also have a goal. But in this situation, I don't even know how to talk about strategy. I mean, look how fast the ball is moving.
I mean, I feel like this one is more just hit it and pray. You can correct me if I'm wrong, though.
I mean, yeah, to some extent. There also probably is somewhat some kind of meta in terms of just sitting in the net and hoping for the best, because at some point it gets going so fast that there's just nothing you can do. So hitting it from one end of the field to the other is probably realistic.
We have Red Gators score goal number 2, and it does look like now Galaxy's going to go up by 2. They have 4 members on the field now. This is just no holds barred, it feels like, for these teams. Let's see if the extra man on the field will help Galaxy out, as they are down by 2 goals. Still a little less than 4 minutes on the clock. Plenty of time to bring it back. Though unlimited boost might tell me that that is not enough time. I don't know. There is no one over here on the Red Gators side of the field right away. Open goal left by both teams back-to-back times. However, the only ones to capitalize on it right away are the Gators. Ball is hit to Mason Troy Adams. They, instead of trying to send it to the goal, send it to the side, though, so they didn't capitalize on that open goal opportunity quite fast enough.
Yeah, and we can see kind of the players are having a hard time getting a grasp on the play. I mean, no one on blue side even has any accolades to their name. No shots, no goals, no saves, no clears. And honestly, I don't really think it's
Oh my gosh!
Imagine trying to read that bounce.
I don't think there is an opportunity to... There we go. Rake! That's what I want to see. That net is open more often than you think, Galaxy. I know you guys can just shoot it in, so don't try to pass. Just honestly send it to the back of the field.
Yeah, just smack that ball as hard as you can towards the enemy net. I mean, it's got to go fast enough that it's almost impossible to save, really.
I really think you're right with regards to the ball physics might have been turned up, because I've never seen a ball ricochet 3 times in a row from the ceiling to the floor like we saw before that other goal.
Yeah, it's possible we were only half deceived on the actual changes to this match. Not to say the least, we are definitely entertained, though, watching this.
Mason Troy Adams sees that open goal. Pug Life sees it too, but the speed is not working in their favor. favor, and that crossbar with the amount of momentum that ball has sends it all the way across the map.
And I think that was technically an own goal, but you know, what are you going to do? He tried to get in the way of it, but it just bounces too fast. Too fast, too furious.
When you're going Mach 12, there's really nothing you can do. It's just going to happen at some point.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's not a whole lot of adaptation to that. There's not a whole lot of strategy to this other than hit ball more. Oh, really close there. And on a more serious note, I'd like to point out, it's really, really cool to see a league come together with a bunch of players from a bunch of different teams and just kind of have fun with the game with each other too. Because at the end of the day, this is a competitive experience as well, where we're trying to get better at the game and trying to become the best we can be. But at the same time, it is still just a game. And it's important that these players also understand that, hey, we're all one big family, we're here to have fun, we're here to get better. Now let's play some, what I can imagine is the bounciest Rocket League ball that I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, you have to have some level of love and camaraderie between the people that you're stuck seeing every day. Even if it's just virtually, you do develop those types of relationships. And Esports Tower, in the time that I have had the honor to work with them, have been nothing but kind and cordial to one another and been very silly and goofy as players across the board to each other. I had one player from one of the high school teams that played for Esports Tower ask both Fish and I to be their Valentine last year. It was pretty cute. So just a whole lot of lovable players across the board for Esports Tower and the other teams that get involved in this community. And this is crazy, I'm going to be honest. I don't know what I would be doing. I would probably just be standing in one spot. My brain would be overstimulated with what's happening if I were trying to play in this match. I am shocked the Galaxy managed to bring this one back. They do have that advantage of the extra player on the field, and it looks like Gators were fully on board with the idea of them having one extra man on the field because they were down by one for the first 2 goals. But as we take down to this last 30 seconds, I feel like we might see no one let their foot off the gas.
Yeah, and there's only 30 seconds left, so speaking strictly competitively, it's very unlikely that they're able to turn this around. But, I mean, they got the 2 goals right off the bat, so that's at least a victory for them.
11 seconds. Let's see if Galaxy can put 2 more on the board, or maybe even just 1. Nonetheless, coming back from a 2-goal deficit when they had 2 people on the field, pretty nice, nicely done, Esports Tower Galaxy. But that's not the only game mode, as I actually unfortunately accidentally spoiled earlier. The Gators and Galaxy are going to face off in hoops now. I'm interested to see if we're going to see a similar situation with a 2v3 and then it progress into having more players added to the field as it goes on. I'd be interested next time, if it's not being brought in this time, if every time a team scores, the other team gets an extra player.
That would be quite the handicap.
I feel like it'd be hilarious.
It would be hilarious. And honestly, it would be hilarious to keep the kind of gravity or whatever. I don't remember what it's called. The ball bouncing is the same. A lot of extra goals will be scored in hoops, admittedly, because the goals are much wider.
All right, well, let's see how this hoops game shakes out between the Gators and the Galaxy. Maybe they've been practicing this in their off time. As I mentioned, I've only ever played drop shot, so this is a whole new thing for me to be able to see. Yeah, this is going to be interesting.
So now it's a 2v0.
It's a 2v1, 2v2.
Oh, no, it is a 2v2. The overlay confused me, admittedly. But right then, I guess there's your first goal. Pretty standard for hoops. I mean, it's really easy to score right off the kickoff in this game mode because you have to aerial for the kickoff, which is a really interesting take on Rocket League, and a change that honestly would be super interesting if they added to the normal competitive stage of the game.
Adding a jump ball to the beginning of normal soccer sounds really weird, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it would probably be pretty weird, like if you compare Rocket League to like normal soccer.
Because that only happens if there is like some unexpected event occurs on the field, such as like a dog runs in and steals the ball. That's when you grab the ball, bring it back to where the dog had it in their mouth on the field, and you do a drop ball there where both teams can go after it. Whereas with basketball, no one has an easy opportunity as soon as the timer starts to grab it because they have to do a jump ball.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. It's kind of weird because Rocket League, on its competitive standpoint, is clearly designed after soccer.
Oh, yes.
But the interesting thing is the more you learn about the game, the more you learn, and I'm sure these Esports Towers kids are learning as well, the more you learn that the game is honestly played at the highest level like hockey, which is a really interesting development in terms of a meta on rotation and decision making.
I'm going to have to look more into that. I only watched hockey for the violence growing up. I did, however, play basketball quite a bit, and I refereed soccer. So that was my understanding of Rocket League going into this. I kind of have always just been like, it's acrobatic cars and soccer. And now I'm going to have to brush up a little bit on the meta theory involving hockey and Rocket League. It's probably going to do that tonight. We'll have to see. Right now, I'm just really interested to see how the Galaxy intend on responding to the Gators currently being up by 3 in this game of hoops. We've got 3 minutes, 18 seconds on the clock. No new players have been added to the field, so we've had a constant 2v2, equal on both sides, but that demolition might be what the Galaxy need to start turning this around.
I would agree. And honestly, it's really interesting to see these teams really actually go for a win here. There's no bounciness or anything, and admittedly it'd be more fun with bounciness, but it's also really fun to see them kind of work together as a team and focus a little bit more on this one than the last one, because finally they're able to hit the ball normally.
Yeah, the physics and the amp speed weren't working in their favor on that last game. I feel like anytime the goal was scored, it was more like a, oh, I scored a goal moment. Whereas here, it seems like they're actually genuinely going for these opportunities. We saw a great dunk there from one of the Galaxy players, which is a little bit too far forward into the on the paint and in the arc there. Now Mason's going to go for the same thing on the other side of the field and is going to find another goal for the Gators.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out that I think Mason Troy Adams scored that last goal, and every time he's got the Supersonic Legend goal explosion going. So in some game mode, he absolutely popped off last season. Very impressive to see that out of him.
Mason, if you could, if you have the opportunity, if you could let me know, was that in hoops or what other game mode that was in? I'm interested. Be great. Thank you. We do have a great save coming out from Galaxy. Darisu now looking to pop this ball up. Can't quite find the height, so it is returned by Zevrik. Rake now trying to do it yet again. Can't find the height, unfortunately, trying to go off the back wall. Sends it to Darisu, but Darisu does not elevate enough to dunk it back down. Basin tries to steal it away. Instead, they're going to leave it for Zevrik. Rake pops into that passing lane, stealing the ball away. We are now ticking down to the 90-second mark here. Red Gators up by 4.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a blowout, to say the least. It wouldn't feel like it, honestly, because the pressure's kind of back and forth, as it usually is with hoops, and it kind of feels like there's been a lot of opportunities still for Galaxy, but nevertheless, the Gators, and I think especially Mason Troy Adams, have found a really good way, or I shouldn't say rephrase, they found definitely their sweet spot with how to get the goal into, I should say, the bottom of the net and not the back.
Well, we have 1 minute left on the clock. Can Galaxy find a couple swishes for themselves, or will Mason just continue to walk away with this scoreboard? They tried to do another dunk there. Unfortunately, it was just a little bit too short of the net again. Got Darisu trying to bring this ball up, has pressure on them, does a great pop, pops it up again in front of the goal, looking for a dunk down is Rake, but it's taken away before they can find it inside that paint. Now Zarek looking for a dunk down, does it themselves, and it looks like Gators get goal number 5, 37 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, Zevrik is obviously talented at this game mode too. He has a lot of offensive pressure and a couple saves too, so clearly he's just as involved as Mason Troy Adams.
Darisu playing it off the wall, looking to find where Rake is hanging out. Zarek trying to get in there and steal it away. Ball's going to drop down into the net, though. Red Gators get goal number 5, 21 seconds on the clock. I mean, it's doable to score a disgusting amount of goals. Oh, wait, no, that was Galaxy's, yes. So Galaxy are 1, Gators have 5. It's doable to find a multiple, I guess, hoops in this short amount of time. Let's see if Darisu can do that. They almost did, but the pinch play from the Gators turned it around before it could cross that net.
Definitely some great attempts from Galaxy, but just not quite able to finish it off. And that will call the end of it. Really entertaining, fun to watch.
Yes, and if you want the opportunity to play some fun games with some people that you might end up calling family through Esports Tower, or you want to be seen by expert college recruiters, talk directly to esports industry insiders like pro athletes, team general managers, or game producers, then you should join the club. Esports Tower players get insider access to industry insights with our featured rumbles. Recruiters are taking notice of these events as well. It's a great way to score exposure to if you're looking to start your path to pro or land a collegiate scholarship. All right, now it's time. It's time for the thing that we always do, the ICCU player of the game. I tried to make a rhyme, it didn't work. So, do you have any nominations for the ICCU player of the game?
Jababy. And if not Jababy, then Jababy.
Crud.
Is that yours?
Yes, it's written right here. I take notes during the game.
Well, then, I mean, that's,
okay.
that's probably what it is.
Okay, you're going for Jababy. I'm going to go for a drift.
I think that's fair, too.
The game number 3 where they almost brought it back for themselves. That was honestly absolutely magical. I'm excited to see what they bring to the table next week. Going into number 3, I'm expecting this one to be, yes, from our Swerve and Lions game. I anticipate number 1 actually being from the Mammoths game as well, just because of some of the crazy moments we had in that one. But judging by how much Gababy we've already seen, I think your prediction of Gababy for our ICCU player of the game is probably going to be correct.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair guess, but honestly, Adrift, I mean, all those players were talented, amazing players, right? And I think Adrift does a really good job of being that.
Wait, what? It's Quez? Wait, who in the... It was Quez from the Swerve? Okay. Quez,
Well,
can you, like, tag me on Twitter and let me know what your new tag is? You've confused me quite a bit, my friend. All of you are really good at confusing me here on Desk with the name changes. But anyway, the ICCU player of the game is... oh, I gotcha. Quest, just a heads up. Doc picked out your picture. I thought it was adorable. The ICCU player of the game is brought to you by the Idaho Central Credit Union, who believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like Idaho Central is helping members to achieve financial success. And you did actually just get to see our top 5 plays of the game. They're brought to you by the Idaho Army National Guard, with more who believes... my apologies. With more than 10 jobs offering $20,000 in scholarships and your degree of choice paid for, they're the best team out there, and you should check them out at the Idaho Army National Guard or at iGuard Gaming on Twitch. And don't forget to check us out here next week at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to watch the Fennec Cup. Congratulations to all of our teams we got to see here tonight. Congratulations to the Barracudas on getting your Octane Cup victory. Enjoy it while it lasts. For the next 24 hours is the rule we typically stick with here, and then start to focus on improving, correcting mistakes that we saw this evening, and be prepared to have to fight even harder for that title in the coming weeks.
Yep, definitely excited to see what they bring next, and definitely excited to see who challenges the Barracudas next.
I say good luck to them, because there's a lot of people gunning for that title.
Yeah.
With that being said, like I said, be back here next week on Wednesday at 6 o'clock. We will be here with more Esports Tower Rocket League, and have a good rest of your evening. Check back here with us. There may be more Boise State Esports to come tonight, but for now, that is the end of our Esports Tower for our Wednesday night. Shot on goal. Beautiful. That's what we want to see, and that was honestly perfect.
Yeah, well, an amazing pinch pass that landed right on Racer, and Racer being in the right position at the right time. I mean, that's most of Rocket League there. Oh, and the pressure already. Mammoths speeded up a little bit, but we're definitely not seeing the same kind of pressure we saw out of them from the Mammoths earlier.
This is a best-of-5 series, and they probably are well aware that Barracudas going against the Swerve means that the Swerve deserve to be where they're at. We have QuazyCat finding another goal for...
It's going to be a really aggressive game. Probably a lot of back and forth as they kind of lean into this match.
That is goal number 2 for the Barracudas. Swerve have 1 goal in their pocket as well. Still plenty of time left on the clock. Does look like the Swerve got a little bit bunched up, though. Quasi Cat can't. Oh, sorry, the Barracudas got bunched up. Quasi Cat couldn't. Adrift will ram into them to force the ball too far forward, trying to get it dug out of this corner. Unfortunately for the Lions, Adrift will maintain possession. Can't play around Quan, though. He's going to send it to the wall. Baby tries to get a touch on it. Quasi Cat getting thrown around by Quan. Flux goes for the shot on goal and just slams it right to the back of the net. No goal scored just yet, and we're just under the 3-minute mark.
There's something to be said about momentum, too. Your positioning is important, but when the ball falls right behind you, the answer isn't always to back up for it. There should be someone behind you that's coming to clear your spot while you're moving out. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Wow, a beautiful bump to disrupt. Just taking that demo and clearing the goal out, lining the player behind.